Female nipples exist, they do. That's what we're going to be talking about today. She's an activist for women's equality and being able to have your nip knobs out. So, do you want to do like a proper, like, hello, hi,
Sure.
my name is.
Yeah. Well, it's so weird because we were just on Twitch and we're just like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
Don't say the word nipple.
This is Basti's first time officially streaming on Joystick. I'm the one that introduced her to it because we were like trying to talk about like, you know, she wanted to ask me questions about topless equality, but we couldn't talk about any of it on Twitch. I still think it's hilarious that like you can't say nipple, you can't show nipple or whatever, but it's like looking at your Twitch, you know, your imagery and everything like that, it's like right up to the thing. It really just demonstrates the idea of like, so me sitting here without a shirt doing nothing is sexual, but you can be like and it's like that's not sexual, okay? And as we all know, female nipples stop existing as soon as you put a shirt on. My name is Cleo. I also go by Sari. My gamer tag is Sari Got Game, but Topless Topics is what I put most of my effort into. And I have been making videos since the beginning of YouTube, and for the last 10 years, most of my energy has been going into my channel, although it's not just YouTube, it's on my website and everything, Topless Topics, where the intent is to demonstrate what non-sexual female nipples look like, because the only way we're ever likely to achieve topless equality, being allowed to go without a shirt anywhere that men can, without being banned or arrested for sexually explicit nudity, is if people can see female nipples outside of a sexual situation. The unfortunate reality is that the only places that won't ban me are porn sites, like Joystick. YouTube and stuff claim, like if you go in their terms of service, they're like, oh, you can have full-on nudity for the purposes of education and activism. But just like Twitch, they're all giant corporations run by algorithms where all it takes is a sufficient number of haters to false report you, and then your videos get taken down. So, but yeah, I'm all over the place. Basically, if you just Google Topless Topics, and I don't only talk about like feminism. I talk about a lot of like progressive issues, and I interview sex workers. I interview just like normal people, like, and I don't normally wear makeup.
I love it.
This was a look. And I make my own shirts, but it takes me a really long time to make them, so they're not for sale yet. Yeah, so like my normal stream schedule, it's not going to be for 2 weeks because of the whole VidCon trip, but normally Tuesdays, 12 to 3 p.m. PST, I stream here on Joystick, and I'll be like editing video, like my topless equality videos. Like I have one I'm editing right now that is basically responding to cringe our nudism posts, because I was born and raised a nudist, but I really started to push against the label because nudists as a self-identifier tend to be kind of weird. Kind of like they shame people who choose to wear clothing. They don't, like, you're not allowed to mention that sex exists or anything like that. They tend to be very like anti-tattoo, anti-gay, anti-trans, blah blah blah. So anyway, I'm editing a video like that. Sometimes I draw like I have a webcomic I occasionally draw called Day in the Life of a Top Free Activist, and it's basically just like based off of interactions I've had. Then Fridays I usually stream on Twitch, Sari Got Game, Ceri Got Game, the one that I was just using with Basti like half an hour ago. And that's my, violent video games, yay! Mention of female nipples, nay. And
Yeah, also very true.
yeah, but if you just Google Topless Topics, that'll get you most of my links. Is that enough? Did I talk long enough?
Yeah, that was perfect. You did great. Thank you. Someone has man boobs. I've been banned for dating apps for being shirtless. It's kind of crazy how many people will tell me to put a shirt on even though I'm a guy just because I have big boobs. She feels you. She feels you.
Yeah, I have.
It's hot too. She was talking to me earlier about how it's just so freaking warm, bro.
Yeah,
it's just
well,
so
like,
freaking warm.
I mean, it's not too bad today, but it was like 90 degrees the other day, and I have kids. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old, and other kids come over a lot, and I was up here, and my computer puts out a huge amount of heat, so my room is like always super hot, and so I took my shirt off, but it's like I had to keep the door shut, and then anytime I heard footsteps, I'm like, throw on a shirt, you know, because I don't know if it's my kids' friends coming over. And people are like, oh, well, it's your own house. I'm like, yeah, are you going to have the conversation with my kids' friends' parents about why they saw nipples? And, of course, you know, my kids and my husband, because my kids were assigned male at birth, they're just shirtless all the time and nobody even blinks. And it just, yeah. It's one of those things, once you notice it, especially if you're suffering from the injustice, it's really hard to not notice it every time. Like, seriously, keep your eyes open, go outside, keep your eyes open, see how often you see a topless guy. You're going to start seeing it a lot.
True.
My tip menu is, like, not accurate. I don't really get tips, that's why, so it's, like, not a high priority for me.
But you did say that you want to make content creation your full-time job, right?
I do.
So you gotta have the menu.
I do. I don't even know how to do
People want to give you money, I promise. They want to give you money, they just don't know it yet. Right, Chad? Don't you want to give them money, you just don't know it yet? Nice, Scotty. Nice. Scotty swiped his credit card. He spent $11 on 100 tokens. You better throw them all. Alright? You pop them pennies. Pop that penny. Pop that penny. Microtransactions.
In an ideal world, I would have the money to hire other people to, like, handle the back end social stuff, and I could just do gaming and topless equality and stuff like that. But I mean, I got mom bod, but you know my excuse? I created and birthed entire human beings. So, suck it. What have you done?
Oh, what is show feet? No, one of my tips says show feet.
Oh.
Because I feel like feet are funny. So one of my my menu says show feet. I just do it and you'll see what you'll see. So, it'll be funny. You'll laugh or I'll laugh.
So do you want me to just answer your questions or can I ask you some questions too?
Both.
Please.
Both, absolutely.
Can I ask?
Do you want to start with number one?
Well, I was just going to ask really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what, you said you do SW, aka sex work. So like what sex work have you and do you do? Because I actually don't know. If you're not distracted by your eyebrows.
My eyebrows. If my bangs are too long. So I am an OnlyFans model, and I do some like more like intimate stuff, and I do most of what I do is like bullying. I charge for a bullying service. I sell digital media. I don't do any collabs. All of my content is all solo. I tried for a while to do some cool like outside stuff, voyeurism, and got immediately like shooed for that. I got in so much trouble. Where I am, you're allowed to be
so many
topless
weird
places.
Yeah, OnlyFans has so many weird
rules.
rules.
I really show feet. I got you, bro.
You're gonna piss them off.
Yeah. So, those are feet. My favorite stuffed animal.
Oh, I want to show feet too.
Fansly is a good site for that. Yeah, I just didn't want to make two sites. I just didn't want to do it.
It's a lot of work. Going between different platforms is like such a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
and
I'm just a girl. Like I'm literally so thin.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get people to go between platforms. Like I'm amazed you've had this many
Justy,
people come
thank
over.
you.
So
thank you for the token. My fans are good about it. We've done a couple other things for switching.
Good on you guys who came all the way here from Basti's Twitch, because very few people do that. They made an account. Yeah. I'm sure we appreciate it.
So I tried to do a voyeuristic one outside because some of my favorite shots, because I used to be a model. I modeled for about 10 years, are outside in the snow with a nude model because I think it's fucking gorgeous. Yeah. I absolutely do. And I did this shoot out in the snow where I ended up being so, like, my entire body was so red that the photos looked awful by the end of it, right? Because I'm freaking, like, laying in the snow completely naked. And my knees are super red, and it was just so funny.
I lost my earbuds by the way.
And I couldn't do them because it was outside, public nudity. And I was like, oh, those are, like really cool shots.
Yeah. See, that's why I wish that we could figure out how to put our collective bargaining power together and figure out how to make a platform that allows sex work but isn't like only for sex work. Because the thing is, once, you know, like Joystick, you go to the home page and it's like sex streams. Like, I don't do any sex thing, but I have to use it because it's one of the only ones that does allow it. But something where you can have sex stream, but it isn't only.
You can't be here. There's no pets allowed.
Isn't only sex work.
Sorry.
And also, like, doesn't have all these arbitrary rules around what you're allowed to do and everything. Like, has the actual content creators decide on the terms of service rather than these big corporate interests.
Yes.
But that costs money. Setting something like that up costs money, and people are so habituated to the censorship that they're just like, you know, it's like people that have like 5 Facebook accounts, so as one gets banned, they just switch to another one. They're like physically incapable of quitting. And it's like Twitter. Like, I quit Twitter, 4 years ago, hardcore, and I lost so many followers because Twitter was basically the only non-porn site where people could follow me and, you know, see my uncensored stuff, even though it's not porn. But I just couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't keep giving free content to Nazis like that. It was.
I get it
for me.
I get it. Can you talk about the other interviews you do?
Oh, yeah. So like some of the interviews I've done, one of the earliest ones I ever did was with Eden Blair, who is an actual porn star. And it was really elucidating because she was talking about a lot of the myths and stuff about the porn industry. I've done one with an erotic fiction writer. I've done fetish models. One guy actually submitted himself. He asked me to interview him, and he was talking about the cuckolding fetish because he wanted to dispel, you know, myths about that. So my tagline is that I
do work with those too.
Yeah. So my tagline is I'm tricking people who aren't already like aware of what's going on in the world into learning about the world by, you know, they're looking for tits and then they accidentally learn, oh, cops are murdering black people and stuff like that. That's my elevator pitch.
I love it, actually. I love it. That's great. That's a great elevator pitch. I love it.
I have not interviewed a lot of other streamers. I'm hoping to do more interviews with people who actually know how to use a camera. It's just, I'm also like a mom and stuff, so.
Yes. I did this for 30 tokens because I didn't know the going rate. I scammed myself. It'll only be on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, the token thing, it's like 5 cents per token or something like that, and that's total, and then the streamer gets a portion of that, so it's a learning curve.
Oh yeah.
I like the springy.
I do. I usually interview them on a different platform. I usually interview them on Twitch, but we couldn't have our conversation over there.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't allowed to talk about, we weren't even allowed to say the word nipples. We couldn't say, I got banned last time for talking about my butthole. I got banned because I talked about my butthole.
Yeah.
I was like, chat, my butthole is purple right now because I body painted it and it's literally dyed purple. And I got banned for saying.
And yet people are so used to the censorship that they'll just be like, oh, signing up for another platform is so much work. It's like, I can't do it for you, my friend.
I feel like I got a lot of people over here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Butthole meta. It's true, it is. Buttgate, also true. I got a question here for you. Yep. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got involved in topless advocacy?
So I started...
I'm just trying to do things as unsexy as possible.
I started making videos at the beginning of YouTube. And then I... about 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, there is another video creator named Trisha Hirschberger, and she started this YouTube series called The Naked Truth. And in that series, she would do these videos, and this was YouTube. She would do these videos cut off at the shoulders, and then she would talk about like different kind of subjects. But she would have people do video responses too, because especially at that era, that was a big thing. And so I did one, and I don't even remember what the topic was, but like, to my surprise, I actually had a lot of thoughtful discourse. Like, yes, I got more views than I ever did, but I also like got to interact with people, and so I started doing a couple of them, and then I was like, you know what, this could be a whole thing, and so I started my own channel, Topless Topics. And originally, because again, YouTube claims that they allow nudity, not just nipple, you know, female nipples, but nudity for like education and activism.
Yeah.
I actually would do them non-sexually topless, and then all of a sudden my videos started getting banned like crazy. And so I've just been in this like journey of trying to jump through all these hoops of not getting banned, but at the same time, like, I post to my website, like I self-host my own videos and then I make a super censored version for YouTube. But like we were saying, getting people to go from one platform to another, like you can't really discover my stuff just on my site. So I still have to use the mainstream stream sites to tell people about my stuff existing. And so I'm in this like really, but yeah, and it's just like, so for the last 10 years I've been slowly figuring out this kind of thing. And I think political channels are actually becoming pretty popular now, but they're like, they tend to be male, and you know, they're not really about feminism.
Have to be.
Yeah, so it's still like a very, like Kat Black actually, she's a black trans political commentary person, and she has a really good video where it's like, why is BreadTube so white? And BreadTube is basically the colloquial term for leftist political commentators on YouTube. So I forgot what the question was. All right. I'm not used to having a co-stream.
In topless advocacy.
I'm not used to having a co-streamer. I'm used to being the only one. So
Cal has come to add his credit card on this site, and then his wife's gonna find out and kill him. You won't, pussy. Bet you won't, pussy. Fucking coward.
So feisty.
Cal and I don't want to call us besties, but
spicy.
We kind of are. We're kind of besties. Yo, what's up, chow wow wow wow.
See, that's how you know that you've got a good friend, is when you can shit talk each other.
It's true. It's true. We do that. Okay, what inspired you to seek out specifically non-sexual nudity? Now, you mentioned you grew up in a nudist household.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more of that?
So, I was never raised to be afraid of nudity. I was never raised to think of it as a bad thing. My parents were sort of Methodist Christian, but it wasn't like, you know, you're going to hell or whatever, and I've always been kind of agnostic. But yeah, so I was never raised with a fear of like, oh my god, nudity bad. And then the topless equality thing, I don't know exactly how I went from full body nudity to nipples. It was just basically like more and more frustration at how hypocritical every platform, every mainstream platform, every, you know, legislative body, even the ones that claim to allow topless equality, like people always bring up New York, they have to constantly retrain their cops. Their cops are still arresting women for going topless. And like, people are like, well, why don't women go topless in the few places that allow it?
That's interesting.
Because they get their videos taken and uploaded to porn sites.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is because they get videos taken of them and uploaded into pornography sites. So, that's absolutely it.
It's just, yeah, and it's just like crazy to me because I keep getting the same comments and questions over and over, and to me it's like obvious, but...
Sorry, I'm just putting my wig back on.
Sorry.
I guess I could put it here and then to the after. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I
have a different wig too. There's actually 2 wigs. Oh, that was nice.
Ooh.
Good.
I sarcastically did a ooh thing yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I was watching game trailers, and we were talking about like I'd be more popular if I wasn't so like aggressive towards you know, patriarchy assholes or whatever. And I was like, you're right, guys. I should be like, ooh woo, hey boys, wouldn't it be so like cool if I could like have the same rights as you, ooh woo? And my chatters were like, never do that again.
Yeah, can you throw a question at her so I can take this photo? Thank you, chat.
Yeah, I'm fiddling with my tip menu while I'm here, even though...
Someone talk to her!
Someone give me a question! It's alright, I know I'm not as pretty, but, you know, I'll do my best to be entertaining.
I've not used Joystick before, I don't know how it works. You want to do that? You want to give a little rundown on how Joystick works as a platform?
So, basically, it's sort of like Twitch, but allows sexual content. The big thing about Joystick is that you can't just be sitting there having sex. You have to actually be doing something. And so, you know, if you go to the homepage, there's a lot of variety. It is still very much a sex-oriented site. That's why everyone has crotch cams and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the only place I can stream is places that allow full porn. But the thing that's nice about Joystick is that, like, their Discord, for instance, is very active. And, like, we even had a Joystick dev in here a little bit talking to Basti, trying to, like, make sure everything
we did.
was set up correctly. And it's also, like, a very tight-knit community. Like, I don't do sex work. I use a sex site because that's my only choice, so I don't do sex work. But, like, the sex workers all talk to each other and, like, help each other out and everything like that. It's not as much of a zero-sum game as a lot of the mainstream platforms where it's like, you can never mention another streamer or people are going to leave you and go to them. So I'm not, if you're talking about more like nitty gritty stuff, I have a friend, I guess he's busy right now. He's usually on here. His name is Gutsurker, and he's really into Joystick. He like helps do tech support and stuff, so he knows a lot more about that. But if you have a question, you can type it and I can forward it to him, but, or just Google it. Yeah, sex friendly, but not
the next wig.
I mean, I don't even know if you would say sex focused. Like, again, you go to the homepage and you look at the other streamers, and almost all of them are doing something sexual. But it's not like just sitting there watching someone have sex. Like, they have to be playing a game, working on art, even just chatting or whatever. But they can't just. It's not like going to Pornhub and just watching porn videos, you know. So, yeah. And unfortunately, they do have to have, you know, fairly strict rules about, like, you can't have kids showing, you can't have, you have to get someone cleared ahead of time to be on camera, stuff like that, because it's a porn site. And so, you know, they have to stay within legal parameters. But pole dancing is a lot of work. Probably not. I'm not the most physically capable of, you know, doing that kind of stuff. I have friends who teach pole dancing classes, actually, but it's just not very high on my list. When I was younger, I was a lot more of, like, I don't want to say attention whore, but, like, I liked being given attention or whatever. But I think at this point, because I'm almost 40, I'm, like, so tired of having my opinion or my appearance judged by others that I, like, don't want to open myself up to it more. Plus, it's hard not to compare myself to people like Basti, who is, you know, so much younger and fitter than me. Why doesn't she want to do Joystick? I mean, she's doing Joystick right now. She's just new to it. So...
Yeah, I'm just new. I'm actually in a contract with another company that next month I'm not allowed to stream on any platform that isn't Twitch or OnlyFans or their platform. I had to get special permission for today's stream because technically I'm already under contract. I won't mention the name of them either because they're paying me, and I'm not going to mention it here. But the platform is paying me for exclusivity rights for 3 months.
I hope that you better get that money. Get that money, girl. Yeah, so basically...
The last one that I did like this scammed me.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Dee Dee, essentially yes. And actually one of the things that's popular among a lot of the streamers is they have, like, remote toys where you can literally tip to vibrate it remotely. And so a lot of streamers have that. And so it's like the tip menu is to activate the vibrator that is inside of them. I don't do any of that. I don't do anything sexual, but I'm very, like, sex positive. I'm very sex work is work as long as it's all consensual. It just really sucks that the only place female nipples can be visible is places that allow full porn. This is different from Twitch.
So it's a well-worded word. I'm trying to grab a hairpin to pin this shit out of my face, and I'm not feeling a hairpin. I just feel like thousands of belly rings. Why do I have so many belly rings? I don't even wear a belly ring. My belly is pierced, but I never wear a ring, bro. It's just, I just have 1,000 belly rings. I don't have a single bobby pin. God damn it. I do. Oh, Jesus.
That's a nice sentiment, Panda. And I, unfortunately, you know, there is pretty privilege and stuff like that. I will say it gets outweighed by personality. Like, I am autistic, and I'm very blunt, and I get very excited and, like, passionate about stuff, and some people are just really, like that's too much. So, but, yeah. Yeah, hey, yay, there's Gutsucker. We had people asking how Joystick works, and I was like, oh, you gotta ask my friend Gutsucker. He's the one that knows the stuff. He's the man with the plan.
I'm blonde now. I did it.
You did it.
It took forever.
Your IQ just... No, I'm just kidding.
In October, then. Yeah, we would... Yeah, did. If we decide we're going to do more, I think we actually spoke about it, and we're going to do more Twitch things, maybe some more games. because for 3 months I can't talk here. So for 3 months I can't talk here.
And hopefully we can.
It's an interesting idea. I actually do that on my like OnlyFans. I do like video game challenges where I'll like try to beat the boss before.
Yeah.
Usually I die. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not good at distracted gaming. It's usually just me dying. You're like and then you're like
Yeah.
It's about the content.
See, it's like people are like, why don't you just do porn? And I'm like, I don't like feeling like I'm required to make it as a, I want to be able to actually make a career out of fighting for what I care about. Like, I have every respect for people who do porn, but it's like I feel like I'm being forced to serve the man if I go to that. Plus, I just don't really want to,
If you don't want to, you shouldn't do it. It follows you like everywhere too. Like because I've been streaming for 5 years and I only started doing it like last year.
Yeah.
And it was just because I'd finally grown big enough that it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've finally grown big enough that not only do I already automatically have an audience, but brands are not going to see it as a risk.
Yeah.
Because I'm already big enough that like they're like, oh, it doesn't matter because she's already like this size.
Now, if you keep on that trajectory, you're going to get to the point where it doesn't matter if you violate terms of service. You're going to make so much money for Twitch that they're going to be like, oh, we'll just look the other way.
They still ban you usually for a day. The last ban I got was 1 day. But I'm legendary on that platform. What that means is I can't have a political tag on my channel. I'm not allowed to stream in pools. I'm not allowed to stream in pools anymore. I streamed in pools a few times and they were like, you're not allowed to do this anymore.
So you're being punished for making them more money than the average streamer.
Yes. No, I'm being punished because they want to promote me on front page, and if they promote me on front page, I'm not allowed to be a whore on their site. And of course, a whore is wearing a bathing suit, fully clothed, not jerking off or oiling my titties.
And see, that doesn't make sense to me because I will go to the Twitch page and I will get these things recommended to me that are literally like bursting out of their bikinis with like, water symbols in their title, and I'm like,
it's because you're logged in. You're logged in.
So you don't.
If you were not logged in, you wouldn't be able to see them.
Yeah.
Oiled titties allowed. You're not allowed to oil your titties anymore. You're allowed to have oiled titties, but you're not allowed to oil your titties.
All the meta things. I remember for a little while there was like the meta asthma, and it was like into the microphone and stuff like that.
ASMR, yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, my friend Nixia used to do better ASMR, not like that, like whispery voices and stuff. Yeah. And every time someone comes in, it's like, will you do ASMR? She's like, whisper voices. They're like, no, suck the microphones.
Yeah.
She's like,
but that's not sexual somehow.
It is. It's sexual themed.
Yeah.
Sucking the microphone is sexual themed, but they allow it on their platform because it makes them too much money. They're not even live streams. They're literally just rerun channels.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's
not even live.
Anyway. Do you want to
Which one do you like better, Dottie? Yeah, I do. How does your advocacy intersect with your identity in the LGBTQA community?
Right, we got to make this pride thing.
We don't have to.
No, it's fine. It's just funny. So, I mean, I don't think you should have to be a part of a group, of a minority group or whatever to care about that cause. But, as a person who is perceived by society as female, who is assigned female at birth, who has a uterus, who, could be forced to carry a rapist baby, who is just straight up denied the same rights as people who look male, like, it is something I'm passionate about. And I think it also, like, with trans people especially, and, like, I have some interviews with trans people and I have some other ones coming up. Like, there's a trans man who goes by the name Swolesome, and he's adorable. He's so funny. And he had a video where he was talking about, like, male privilege as a trans man, and he was saying one is that since he got top surgery, he can just go out without a shirt. Nobody cares. And so I often say, like, the way that non-binary and trans people are treated perfectly exemplifies how bullshit gender-based censorship is. Because it's like, my sons are 7 and 9, but they both have long hair. And so everyone assumes that they're a girl. And there's people out there who are like, oh, 9 years old, that's too close to puberty. That kid, that girl has to have a shirt on. And so it's like we go to the beach or something like that. It hasn't happened yet.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Hasn't happened yet, but I'm still waiting for some Karen
funny.
to come up to be like, your daughter needs to put a shirt on. I can
Yeah.
be like, that's actually my son. Oh, I'm so sorry, my mistake. And it's just like, you know, with trans people, it's like, it's incredibly invalidating. If you are, for instance, you're a trans man, but you go out and or like you're on Instagram and you post a picture or something, a topless picture, and it gets taken down, that's Instagram saying, we don't care what your identity is, we think you look female. And the same thing with trans woman. If you do post your chest and you don't get banned, that's Instagram saying, we don't care that you identify as female, we think you look like a man. And like, to me, that's like, how can anyone argue, yes, if you look female, you deserve less rights than if you look male? Like, give me a good argument for that.
Yeah, someone said it in our Twitch stream earlier. They called you a guy, and I was like, don't tempt her. She'll take her titties out right now. Don't tempt her. I was like, she'll do it. She'll literally pop them out. That guy said it was okay. He said it was okay. He said I was allowed.
Yeah. Well, except that supposedly on Twitch, you can't show them if you're a man. Unless it's the hot tubs category, and then all of a sudden male nipples are allowed. Oh, man, your hair color changed. Anyway.
Jesus fucking Christ. Do I look cool without hair tie? Would you still like me if I was bald?
You could swing it. Hi.
Alright, I got it.
Okay. Are you back with the room?
So you have to do it off camera. So that's exactly it. You have to, if you're going to apply oil, you have to turn your camera off, apply oil, and come back and be like, whoa, where did all this oil come from? It's everywhere. I'm not rubbing it on my boobs. It's just there. I won't touch it. It's so just dumb. Oily.
It's so dumb.
You can't touch it.
Well, it's like, again, with nipples.
Thank you.
Like, you know, even touching your chest at all, if you're a woman, it's like, oh, that's extra sexual. But when you're a man, you can be like, topless, and it's like, that's not sexual. It's stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, sorry. I feel like this is a very distracted stream.
You're showing feet for 15 tokens? No, I think it's perfect. I got everything.
You're 38, still a virgin? That's okay.
Sniffer, thank you.
I didn't lose my virginity till I was almost 30. And honestly, like, you shouldn't be
the
in a
last
hurry.
person I dated was a virgin in his 30s. The last person I dated was a virgin in his 30s, and we did break up because we were not sexually compatible.
Yeah.
We were not. I was like, I actually really enjoy sex, and they were like, I actually don't like sex at all. And I was like,
so
like at all? And they're like, I actually don't like them. And I was like, okay, that's okay, but I can't have this relationship if you don't like sex at all, because I like sex. And they were like, oh, all right. So
see,
that was it. And it was a whole political. It was a whole thing because they were another creator, and everyone was like, why did you guys break up? And I'm like, it's none of your damn business. All right.
See, that's why it's nice that my husband doesn't even care. Like, I was really surprised that he came into the Twitch stream for a little bit, because he generally doesn't, like, watch or engage with my content at all. But, so actually, you made me think of one of the things I talk about a lot is I'm a firm believer that we should, I think we should decriminalize prostitution. And a big reason of that is because there's a lot of people out there who, the reason that they haven't had sex yet is because they're so nervous and they don't know what they're doing. And so just like you can hire a therapist to help you, like, you know, learn social skills.
I feel like I would benefit from learning how to suck a dick from a porn star. Because, like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've dated women for so long that, like, dating men, I'm like, is this cool? Like, am I doing it right? I'm so confused.
Is sex as hype?
I feel like I would definitely benefit from it.
I mean, I think it depends on the person.
Thank you for the 4 token.
It depends on the person, because it's like,
that's a great answer.
Don't have that much of a drive these days, but I'm also, like, tired all the time. I'm very much, I'm a sapiosexual. Like, watching porn does nothing for me. What gets me going is, okay, I'm obsessed with boy love comics. Like, I love reading them, but I only get into the ones where it's a very long established relationship. Like, they have to go from here to here. If they go straight into having sex, I'm like, this is boring. Like, I get nothing from it. So when something is illegal, it's not regulated. Well, so the argument for sex worker, and I learned this from talking to sex workers, is there's legalization and decriminalization. And the thing is, legalization is still putting a lot of power in the state to decide this is how you're allowed to do this thing. Decriminalization means that they can't arrest you for it anymore. And like, I'm not the person to get into the specifics of it, but basically legalization is only like a halfway measure, and it can be revoked, like, very easily. And they can be like, you have to get this kind of license to be able to do sex work, and if it's like visas, you know, it's like you have to have all these criteria, and then if you don't do all these, we can take it away. So, yeah, I don't know why I was talking about that.
No, it made perfect sense.
And not watching.
No, it made perfect sense. You said you would never pay to lose your virginity. I don't think I would pay to lose my virginity, but I would definitely, like, now, as someone who, I have sex. I have sex sometimes when I'm not too busy. When I'm not too busy, I have sex, and I definitely feel like my skill could be improved. I know a lot of sex workers, and some of them have taught me about, like, different probiotics to take so that your coochie is, like, on point, and can take loads of cum, because your coochie isn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, your pH balance is all fucked up, but you can take probiotics, and then it's cool with receiving the creamy pies. Otherwise, it's angry pussy.
Yeah, and also the thing you have to keep in mind, and I mean, I understand this takes a lot of deprogramming to do, but part of why you feel that way, Titan, is probably because you're still enmeshed in the shame of sex work, the shame of, like, being a virgin and stuff. A lot of people, it's like the same thing as people who become therapists because they want to help people. Same thing as, like, people becoming prostitutes or whatever because they want to help people who are lonely, people who don't know how to organically find a sex partner. And I mean, it doesn't have to be like this dirty, crass thing. Like, it's just, that's society, that's capitalism trying to keep you under control when it's something that shouldn't be. You shouldn't think of it that way. I'm kind of tired, so my brain is like, bleh.
How do you feel about sugar baby? And I have a sugar, I call him a glucose guardian because I think the word daddy is icky. So I call him a glucose guardian. It's non-binary, which is important.
Oh, yeah.
So
and it's still an alliteration.
For a sugar baby.
Are you asking me?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, how do you feel about it?
I think it's totally fine if it's consensual. So here's the thing, is like, they shame women for wanting, you know, oh, gold diggers or whatever, but it's like, the man wants an attractive, young, nubile person to have sex with. Like, why is it wrong to want to get something back from that? It's not like maybe they're in love, but like, the guy, often that the woman is being accused of being a gold digger, he's out searching for a certain kind of sexually viable person. So it's not wrong for her to want to get paid in return. And again, it's just the shaming of sex workers. And it's, you know, shaming sugar babies or whatever, as long as it's all consensual. As long as they're not being, like, groomed or, you know, coerced into it.
Yeah, that's valid.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let people decide their own fates.
Huh.
The problem is that, because sex work is illegal, I mean, you know, prostitution is illegal and stuff, if that sugar daddy or whatever does start coercing and forcing the sugar baby, like maybe she becomes financially dependent on him, she can't go to the police and be like, hey, he's like holding me hostage, because then she'll get arrested. So basically there's all sorts of
That's a really
fallout.
good point. That's actually a really good point. I won't, now that I'm in a committed relationship, that's valid. I had a confession. I do confession streams on Twitch, and some guy confessed. He goes, I go to a rub and tug every single week. And I have for the last 12 years. I'm like, how do you afford that? He's like, I don't tell my wife. We've been married for a year and dating for 4 years. She doesn't know because I was doing it before that. I'm like, you're cheating on her. He's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you
And I'm
are.
like, would you let a guy jerk you off? And he goes, no. And I was like, then you're cheating on her.
Yeah.
I was like, why haven't you told her? He's like, it's none of her business. And I'm like, how much money? He's like, I'm spending $85 a week. I can afford it.
It's
like,
not about affording it.
Cheating on your wife.
That's
bro.
freaking cheating. God. So, for the record, I'm technically polyamorous. My husband and I are polyamorous.
I remember this.
We haven't done a lot with it because, first of all, trying to find someone, because I'm attracted to femme, and trying to find a femme person who's okay with kids, animals, and me having a husband is very hard. But theoretically, we're like open to it.
And local.
And local, yeah. I want someone I can like physically snuggle with. And so we haven't really done anything with it, but I've always found it, like, cheating is such a complicated thing because to me, I feel like if you've had a like 30-year relationship and someone slept with someone once, like you should be able to go to therapy and talk it out and stuff like that. It shouldn't just be like a, whatever. But if someone's like a serial cheater, then by all means, I think that, that's a sign you should get out. But I also understand everybody's different. For some people, it's going to be a deal breaker. For others, it's not going to. I've never been cheated on, but I haven't really, I haven't been in a ton of relationships. So I didn't even date till I was like 27.
Colin.
But yeah. And my husband's very supportive.
I'm going to pull us.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hell yeah. I'm going to pull us back here. And what misconceptions do you think people have about topless advocacy?
Well, so obviously,
yeah.
one of the biggest ones is that I get a lot of dudes who assume because I'm willing to have my nipples visible at all, that it means I must be a sex worker. And so they'll be like, oh, I want to buy a video of you having sex, or I want to buy a video of you taking a shower. It's normalizing topless equality. It's like, no, that's fetish material. So definitely,
we had that conversation. It's hilarious.
Yeah, the assumption that I'm a sex worker just because I'm okay with having my female nipples visible. Also, that me having my nipples visible means I'm open to, like, hey, you got really sexy titties, and it's like, if I didn't want to hear that, why would I have them visible? Also, that I'm doing it for attention. I get a lot of trolls who are like, oh, you're just doing it for attention. It's like, if that was the goal, wouldn't I just do porn? Like, why would I stop?
Yeah, if I wanted attention, I would get the attention.
Yeah. So that's basically the biggest one.
Absolutely,
is just assuming that I'm doing it for attention and that I'm doing it. Like, I get haters that are like, you don't really care about it. Like, a lot of my followers, for not the ones who just follow me to jack off, but the ones who I actually engage with a lot, are nudists. And most nudists are middle-aged, cis white, tend to be conservative. A lot of them are retired. And if I, like, even having a Patreon or having, like, a karaoke video that you pay to see or something like that, they're like, you're defeating your cause. You're being a hypocrite by having a price tag on anything. But it's like, videos and stuff take lots of time and work. I cannot monetize. I'm banned from monetization when I'm not banned outright. I can't, I don't do sex work. So it's like, that's the only source of income I have. So
digital media, and people enjoy paying for it. So, like, I stream on Twitch, and I have an OnlyFans, and I make more money on my OnlyFans than I do on Twitch because people like to pay for content, but on Twitch it's all donation.
Yeah.
So you're literally paying me because I'm funny and I'm live, but at least on OnlyFans you can pay me and get something for it, even if it's not like something crazy. Like most of the content I send out daily is like boob jiggly stuff or like butt jiggly stuff, just like stuff to make you like, oh, ooh, a little tease, a little grab. There's other stuff too, but a lot of it is like little, and you can't even go like this. Like on platforms, you can't even be like booby jiggle
or itch.
I hope your day is better. Or itch, yeah.
I know, it's like I'll have an itch and I'll be like, hold on, guys. Okay, anyway, I'm back. Which makes it more like noticeable. That's the thing, is if you were just like that. So I wanted to speak on. So I love Bastila was saying poly means an open relationship, right? So polyamorous is a very wide umbrella, and there's a lot. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise. So polyamorous is a wide umbrella. There's a lot of different models of it. There's some people where it's like, I don't want to know anything about your side partners. There's some where you, like, the model that I say I like is the kitchen table polyamory, where basically you're not sleeping with each other, but you all know each other, and you can all sit around at a table and have a conversation, and, like, you're friends with each other and stuff like that. So, like, that's my ideal model. But yeah, like, it's just basically polyamory is open to dating other people without it being cheating. And there's romantic polyamory, there's sexual polyamory, there's like, yeah, it's basically just not one person only, always for everything. So hopefully that kind of gives you an answer.
That was good. I liked it. I learned something today.
Yeah.
Never do for free what takes time and effort. You're completely correct. Completely.
Karaoke.
Completely correct.
Oh yeah, I love karaoke.
But I used to, before I started streaming, I actually got accepted into a master's program after my college to be a sex therapist in New Zealand, but COVID canceled it. So my job, my hope was that after I graduated,
and yet you were saying you're not good at it
in college. Yeah, and I so I was going to go into sex therapy. So I was going to be a therapist that you could talk to about like compulsive masturbation.
Mm-hmm.
And like women, a lot of women don't have an orgasm until 32. That's like, it's like 40% of women don't have an orgasm
Yep.
until 32. Like,
Yep.
brother. So
I
like
still
I
have
wanted
a
to be the
hard
person that could
time.
talk about it.
Yep.
And then simultaneously, I wanted to be a suicide girl because I was a model. So like I could be in the sex work part and also be doing sex therapy. And I thought it would be a really cool job. But then COVID happened, so now I do
Yeah.
this.
Well, and it's like having a therapist who is queer, or at
I
least
see.
has queer people in their family. You're going to feel more comfortable talking
Mm-hmm.
to them about queer issues if you're queer than someone who has like no experience. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, well, like I keep saying, I think that we should legalize. We're only punishing ourselves by censoring any talk of sex, any talk of this or that or whatever, because it's like that's how you get teen
Yeah.
pregnancies. Abstinence only doesn't work. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
get STDs. It's just be like, if we don't mention it doesn't
That's what they
exist.
want though.
Yeah.
Because if you get pregnant young, then you stay stupid
Yep.
and you can't get a job. That's what they want. They want
More
you
white babies.
young, dumb, and full of cum and not getting out of
Young, dumb, and full of
the
cum.
poverty level.
Yeah, and so
Young, dumb, and full of
you got to
cum.
question it. Like you got to question who is being who is benefiting from the status quo, who is getting power from the way things are now. We probably scared off that guy that was like, I'm probably gonna disagree with you on everything. It's like, okay. I'm not gonna
I'm hoping that it's I
apologize.
Love Bastila. I'm actually hoping that that person is I Love Bastila.
Could be.
I'm hoping. Um,
Polly now. Oh
Mango,
wow.
you're not polygamous. She just cheated on you.
Yeah, that's not
She just
Polly.
cheated on you.
Polly is completely. You have to
She just
discuss the
cheated on
shit
you.
out of it. Like it's like kink. So someday I'm gonna do an interview with Gutsucker because he does a lot of like he's very into the kink community or whatever, and so there's like a lot of myths about kink that I want to talk to him about. But like that's the thing is people are like, oh, polyamory means I can go out and cheat on anyone. I will say that almost all the polyamorous groups I've known have fallen into bloody flames because there's people in it that are like, oh, poly means that I can, sleep with whoever I want. Like one of the first poly couples I knew, it was a husband and wife, and they had a kid. And then my friend
Hmm.
started dating the guy, and they brought her into the fold, saying that she was also going to date the wife. Turns out she wasn't lesbian at all. She was only interested in the guy, and the wife kept getting stuck with the kid, while the husband and the girlfriend would go out and like do fun stuff together. And at one point, like years into this, the wife started getting kind of close to another guy, and the husband flipped his shit. There's a term that gets used for a lot of toxic poly situations called one penis policy, where it's basically like a man and then cis women, and it's like, oh, the women can date each other, but there
Harem. It's
better
a
not be another
harem.
fucking man. It's like a harem,
I
and
get
there's a
it.
lot
A
of
harem.
poly couples that's what it turns into, and like that's a harem. I'm sorry. Like my husband wouldn't care if I
It's a
was with another
harem.
guy. I just don't have an interest in dating another guy. I'm way more. I'm like 99% lesbian. So yes. So when you're in poly, you can date several women or men. And since
I see that Nidaman.
yeah,
Can I make a compliment here? Because this chat is so polite. I know that a
yeah,
lot of you are my chat, but like a lot of you are here from this platform and you guys have just been gems. I had a little anxiety beforehand. I was like, dang, what if
yeah.
people come in and they're just like really horrible to me? It hasn't happened. No one's been weird, so thank you for not being
She
weird.
was.
I
She
really
was very
appreciate it. It brings me a
worried.
lot of joy.
And I was like, I mean, I don't get that, but I understand that you have a much bigger platform. But yeah, you guys have been really good so far, so I appreciate it as well. And I love having a chance to like talk about this stuff with another person, especially the fact that like, you actually do sex work, but like apparently I know more about like polyamory than you do, so it's like interesting different spheres of
My content is all solo and it's all like I was raised in a Christian household and they tell you that you can't masturbate.
yep.
And you should masturbate. It helps your brain like a lot. Like if you haven't jerked off this week, you should probably jerk off because like your brain's gonna fucking explode, bro. That's why vibrators and stuff were invented because women weren't coming.
Yep.
And then they were having to go to the doctors because they're fucking crazy. And they're like, here, take
Yep.
all these drugs and we'll make you come. You should be coming more often. It's a cool thing to do. And I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And I also think that I look cool when I do it. So come frequently, chat.
Well,
It'll make
the
your
theory that I've
balls
seen that
less blue.
theory I've seen that one of the reasons that men are like getting really worried about, and boy, trad wife is getting more popular and stuff like that. And it's funny because on paper I am a trad wife. Like I stay home and I take care of the kids and I clean the house and stuff. I also make my videos or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm obviously like a feminist and everything. But for the first time in history, women kind of don't need men. We can have our own bank accounts.
Yes.
We can make our own money. We can get a vibrator. We can get artificially inseminated. We don't need men.
Not in Texas anymore. They're taking it away from Texas.
That's what I'm saying, though, is the Republicans.
No more vibrators in Texas. They're
men.
not taking fleshlights, though. They're not taking fleshlights. They're just taking vibrators.
Oh, my God. Party of small government. Yeah, so it's just... again, look at who's benefiting from the status quo. Oh, all of a sudden, women have an opportunity to, like, not have to be protected and taken care of by a man. Therefore, we have to re-exert our authority over them. So...
On my OnlyFans, the top 3 types of content that are requested are some sort of, like, doming thing. They like it when I'm mean to them, or if I, like, talk about their LPH. Those are very popular.
Yeah.
And like she mentioned before, shower videos are very popular too. People want to watch you shower because they're jerking off to it, not because it's topless.
Yeah.
You want to share that story again?
Well, it's just...
And
so it's something that happens occasionally. Basically, I'll have someone who follows me for years, and they'll have this attitude where all of a sudden they'll want me to do something sexual, and they'll be like, I know you don't, normally do sexual stuff, but since I've been a fan for such a long time, and it's become this meme where it's like, okay, you think the reason I haven't done porn all this time is just because I haven't had the right person ask me? And it's like, no, because, we had a guy that had followed me for a long time, and he was like, oh, to normalize, this was back before I really pushed against nudism, and I would occasionally do full nude stuff too, just, again, the same non-sexual nudity thing. And he's like, it would really help, I'll buy a video of you showering. And I was like, no, that's fetish material. I'm not going to do that. And he's like, oh, but you have artistic, he didn't say artistic nude, but he's like, you got nude photos for sale. Because I have photo shoots I did where I'm out in nature, posing and stuff. And he's just like, oh, you did these naked photos out in nature, therefore you must be a sex worker, therefore you're going to do this fetish stuff. But it was just like, he literally was like, interesting, very interesting. It was just, yeah. I've been around the block too many times.
My account is one-sided content, so like I don't accept pictures back. A lot of girls will do PP ratings, right?
Yeah.
Now the reason I don't do them is because they do them for so cheap.
Yeah.
They're like $5 and you can rate my penis. I don't want to see your pic. I don't want to see your dick for $5.
Yeah.
You need $500 and I'll look at your penis and I will not be nice about it. You gotta if your penis curves, I'm gonna tell you about it. You're like, I spent $500 on this. You can't be nice. I'm like, penises are ugly.
Thank you.
Yours is probably ugly. That's why you want a random girl on the internet to rate it.
I don't like. I have a husband. He's assigned male birth. We have sex. Obviously, I have kids. But I don't get anything from looking at people. There are women out there who like looking at penises, but I would dare say that they are not the majority, and also you shouldn't operate off the assumption that because some women like looking at dicks, all women want to look at dicks. We will ask you if we want to see your penis.
Boobs. If I would look at boobs all day. If someone
boobs
was like,
are nice.
Tell me what my boobs are. I would say, you're not going to believe it. I would say they're a 10. It wouldn't matter what they look like. If anyone was like, hi, can I send you a picture of my boobs and you tell me what they look like? And I'll be like, is it actually you, or did you steal an OnlyFans girl's content and now you're sending it to me pretending that it's you? Because that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's always what the situation is. It's always a guy.
I have an OnlyFans, but I don't do anything with it really. I just basically made it to try as a place to try to post non-sexually topless or whatever. But first of all, they have all those weird, stupid rules about like what you could do.
If I had known that you had one, I could have tagged you on there as well.
I don't use it. I don't use it. I just have it. But no, it's just funny because I'll get DMs on there where they like, do you do the rating? Do you do the rating? And it's like says all over my thing, I don't do anything sexual. And it's just like, but my tits are visible, therefore I must be a sex worker. Anyway. A slug.
That's so frustrating. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that every single day. Do you come up with like satirical responses? Because I just hit them with humor. They'll ask me all the time. They'll be like, why are your boobs out? And I'll be like, they are? They'll be like, yeah, sometimes. I can see your whole boob. And I'm like, you can?
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes. Yeah. I mean, like, if you respond to them, like, because they love the attention. You know this, but they love the attention. They want to be an asshole because they want you to, like, talk to them. And they'll do it to celebrities too, like, you know, because people, even celebrities, are more likely to respond to hate than they are to positive comments. But it's like, if someone says, like, you look like a man, you'd be like, oh, thank you. And they're like, what? Their brain short.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I get that. I get told I look like a trans woman a lot because I had the LGBTQ tag. They'll be like, you look like a man. And I'm like,
I don't even have that tag.
I actually respond to all pronouns.
I don't even have that tag, and they'll say
so you can call me whatever you want.
I don't even have that tag, and they'll say it to me. It's because they think, like I was trying to say in Twitch carefully,
they think it's offensive.
Yeah, to them, like, the worst thing ever is to be a man in a dress. So... No, you could like...
I'm in the minority of liker of dicks.
You can like dicks.
You can like dicks. You know what? You could even work for an OnlyFans girl, and you could get those $5 for rating those peens. If I had a guy who was running my OnlyFans, I would outsource it, but I don't. Like, I do it all by myself. So, like, I don't want to see the penises. But if it wasn't me, you better bet I'd have someone like Spade in there rating the penises. Yep. They'd be like, Basti, you did that. And I was like, it wasn't me.
Yep.
It was a lie.
Yeah.
Basti.
Trans misogyny is the official term that gets brought up a lot. It's trans misogyny, and it's basically where, like, the two get meshed together. And it's really frustrating because it's like, until all of us, I can't remember how the phrase goes, but it's like, until all of us are free, none of us are free. And that's why it is very important to be intersectional, you know, intersectional feminist. And unfortunately, you know, as a cis white woman, like, I have to try harder to not fall into these patterns of being like the dreaded white feminist, where it's like transphobic, racist, or whatever, in ways that you don't even realize you're being. And that, unfortunately, like, I do spend a lot of time in leftist places. I don't go to Twitter anymore, but, like, I am on Blue Sky and Mastodon and stuff like that. And there's a lot of, like, you're not being the right kind of leftist. That gets me really frustrated because that's not helping anything. Saying someone else is not being leftist enough is not going to stop fascism. Anyway, I don't know where I got onto that. Sorry.
You're right. It's a good rant. Yeah. It's you know, the cool thing about making a YouTube video afterwards, it all works out. It all works out.
People just listen to it. Yeah, I'm recording this right now. So I always record on my live streams and then I put them up as a video on my website. So that is something you can look forward to. Go to topless.org, and when the video is up, I will let everyone know. And Bastila, I still feel like I'm saying pasta. Basti will link to it when it's up as well. So the YouTube version will be censored. Absolutely. I mean, we don't have our tits visible right now, but, like, I don't know. I'll figure out something. And then, because on my usual videos are topless, but I'm not doing anything sexual. It's just literally people who are like, you know, my question is, if I was wearing a shirt, would you consider this sexual? If not, then why is it suddenly sexual just because I have my shirt off? But, yeah. Normally I'm topless.
I like it. That's a good line. Yeah, she's adhering to my rules. I've got a weird contract for the next 3.5 months. This one says, I wonder if you could write an okay, so I wouldn't do that because I take pride in the fact that it's me, and I think it's a gateway drug, right? So if I started doing a bot that would accept PP photos, then it's just a gateway drug to, I want to see you put your fist in your booty hole. And I'll be like, oh. Yeah. You know, it starts them talking, like, degradingly. And, like, I would rather them pay me money to talk degradingly to them. Yeah. That's all. I don't listen well to authority, and that definitely shows through in my OnlyFans.
Yeah, you and I have that in common, where it's like, we don't want to do stuff that we don't want to do, even though it might make us more money, because doing what some rude asshole demands that you do. I mean, for me, it's like, the more someone is like, do this thing, the more I'm like, no.
Absolutely. Exactly. You're totally right, Goddard. You're totally right. That's so funny, Spade. We're on number 6 now. Yeah. You ready for number 6?
I mean, it's only 7:30 for me, so
We're doing perfect. How do you personally define non-sexual nudity, and why is that distinction important?
Sorry, glitched out for a second. So, I mean, I kind of was already just talking about that. Basically, non-sexual nudity is if they were dressed and it wouldn't be sexual, it doesn't suddenly become sexual just because you can see her nipples or you can see their penis or whatever. Me sitting under a tree reading a book doesn't suddenly become hardcore porn just because you can see my nipples. Versus the hypocrisy of, like, you have music videos, like, look, I mean, I don't say this is hate to you, I say this is hate to the man. Look at your content on Twitch and tell me that's not sexy. Tell me that, like, you know,
I'm sexy.
isn't sexy, but it's such an arbitrary thing. And like I was saying at the beginning, we're stuck in the catch-22 where people have to get used to the sight of female nipples outside of sexually explicit situations to break that association between, oh, I only ever see female nipples in sexual situations, therefore sexual words. Therefore,
the problem
female nipples,
is, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, therefore female nipples must be sexual because I only ever see them as sexual. But as long as I can only post to porn sites, and the only places I can go topless are places that allow full nudity, so therefore they're a lot smaller, and most people aren't going to go there. Like, how do I achieve that? And just talking about topless equality isn't changing anything. You know? I forgot.
You talked about New York, and you were like, the reason women don't go topless there is because they get assaulted, and the cops arrest them.
Yep, they get assaulted, or people will take their video, or, like, they'll get fired from their job. Their friends and family will be like, oh my god, I can't believe you, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, my biggest fear now is that, because, like, I just work from home, like, doing graphic design and stuff. Most of my job is being a housewife, basically. Although, once my dad died in November, and we're basically surviving off his life insurance, so once that's gone, I'm going to have to basically either get a lot more Patreon donors or quit all this and get a real job. But, you know, my biggest fear now is that something's going to happen with my kids. Like, my kids are going to get bullied because their dumbass parents be like, your mom's a whore, you know? Or, you know, I could get stalked and assaulted and everything like that. But if people, like, the majority of people at my school, and my kid's principal is actually very progressive. Like, she has books about, like, how to parent queer youth and, like, how to, you know, not be race, like, that kind of stuff. So she would be weirded out. I don't think she would do anything. But there's other parents there that absolutely would be like, I can't believe, because I'm on the PTA, and I can see them be like, oh my god, I can't believe you'd let a whore be on the PTA. It's like, I'm not even talking about topless equality at the kids' stuff. Like, what? Anyway. Oh, I got Raj.
It's good, Spade. I'm interested about it, Gut. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear what it says.
I got both chats up, so.
Yeah, I love that, Spade. That's very cute. Is yours saying something? Yours is right over here for me.
So there's a famous quote. I was going to say, so there was a case against indecency. I don't remember the specifics of the case, but the line that became really famous from it is the judge said, I know porn when I see it. Or I know sexually explicit. And it's like, so that's so fucking arbitrary. Every person is going to have a different decision on what's sexy or not, and yet that's the parameters that they use. Is like, you know, you going to the camera isn't sexy, but me sitting there with a shirt off is sexy. Like, it's, yeah, but that's how they literally are basing our legal system and, you know, websites off of. Anyway.
It drives me crazy that if I wear a full shirt, like a full shirt, and I have my nipples underneath it, that I'm not allowed to get cold. I got in trouble, like in trouble. I was outside. I was wearing two shirts, and one of them was a sweater, and they gave me a sexual themed warning for like 2 weeks because my nipples got hard, and I was like, it's 30 degrees outside. I live in Canada.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's so stupid.
I'm fully clothed on a hike. Like, I had a, like, up, down, all down, completely every inch of my, besides neck, was covered in wrists. Like,
well, my friend, she sent me a picture a year or two ago. She went to the local pool, because we have a couple indoor pools. You have to pay to go there, but whatever, because I'm in Portland, so it's cold a lot of the time. And she was wearing a white bathing suit with a white shirt over it, and they kicked her out saying it was too revealing, because they could almost kind of see the outline of a nipple through 2 layers at the pool. But all the men were walking around without a fucking shirt, and I'm just like, how can anyone see that and not be
I've been in trouble for that in a pool too.
I'm like, how can anyone, like, hear a story like that and be like, yeah, that makes sense, that's fair. Why? Give me one good reason.
Exact same thing. I had a bathing suit on and a dress on over it, like a sundress, you know, like the sun stuff in it, and it like cut off here and it went down to here. And because when I got out of the pool, it clung against my body, and like I had nipples underneath an obvious bathing suit. They were like, you can't be here, there's children. And I'm like, I am wearing a dress and a bathing suit.
Yeah.
I'm wearing
Yeah.
2 articles of clothing.
Yeah. And that was where, what state was that?
Florida.
Florida, yeah. Florida and everything
Florida.
like that. Florida,
Yeah.
Texas. I mean, like, I was born and raised in California. I moved to Portland 10 years ago, and people are always like, oh, California's so liberal, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're still not allowed to go topless there. If you look female, you'll still get arrested and everything like that. Do they also kick off males with brief swimmers on, too? Obviously not. Obviously not.
Ever since I got my boobs done, one of my nipples is almost always hard.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like, they're full, right? So, like, one of my nipples is almost always hard.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to do things because
and men get hard nipples
I don't
too.
mind. It's just a nipple.
Like every excuse,
just nipples.
People give on like why female nipples have to be. It's like, oh, they're erogenous zones, so are male nipples.
True.
They can produce milk, so can male nipples if you give them the right hormones. Also, them actually having a biological purpose for children makes them sexual. What? Like
makes them less sexual. Should make them less sexual.
There's no actual reason for making them illegal. Yeah, so Tumblr, like years ago now, I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, all of a sudden they decided that they were gonna like ban porn and everything, and they like banned insane amounts of stuff. And I used to use them as part of my, you know, non-sexual nudity or whatever. And then a couple years ago, they were like, oh, we're actually not going to ban nudity anymore. You just have to tag it. And so I tried using it, but like even though I would put a tag on it saying non-sexual nudity, they'd still hit it with a sexually explicit, and they actually banned my blog for a little bit, saying that I was trying to like avoid bans. And I got it back, but it's like they suppress the hell out of my stuff. Like if you type in topless topics just in a Tumblr search, you won't be able to find mine. You have to actually go to toplesstopics.tumblr.com. And like Blue Sky, you know, I joined Blue Sky because a lot of the people off of Twitter go onto Blue Sky. I'm always pushing Mastodon, but Mastodon has a lot of problems too. But You've
mentioned a lot about that site, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't even want to get into it. Mastodon is it's a whole long thing. But the thing about Blue Sky is, like, yes, they have a non-sexual nudity label separate from the sexual, which is great. Like, almost no websites even have a difference between non-sexual and sexual nudity. But they only apply it to female-looking nipples, and they'll even go so far as, like, I'll draw a cartoon like my day in the life of topless equality activist, and they will slap a sexually explicit label over a black and white cartoon drawing of nipples. Female nipples.
That's crazy.
And it's like, at VidCon, actually, one of the panels is supposed to be by the CEO of Blue Sky, and I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to raise my hand and be like, so was it ever discussed when you guys were deciding on your moderation if you would buck the trend by not considering female nipples nude if not male nipples? You can post.
What's CSAM?
Oh, that's child.
Oh, yeah. I see. See, I wouldn't even have known that one.
Yeah. You probably don't spend as much time addicted to leftist social media as I do. You probably have better mental health for it.
I'm on social media, but I'm posting. I'm not really like absorbing.
Yeah.
The only thing I really read is like I'll read the no sleep Reddit, which are not real stories.
Yeah.
They're like scary monster stories.
Yeah, creepypasta.
So it's not, or like the Twitch subreddit.
Yeah.
So like I can help people.
Yeah.
But like I don't consume a lot of media. I don't even like mindlessly scroll on Instagram. I just like I'll post a reel because I have enough people that follow me now that send me reels or like do this audio. I don't have to scroll myself anymore. Yeah. So I just don't do it.
Yeah.
Hi.
No, I mean it's a question of like how do you stay informed about the world but at the same time not destroy your mental health, because it's not going to help stop fascism to be miserable all the time. And it doesn't help that like all these platforms are so pro censorship that it's like trying to raise awareness. Like, you know, I wasn't at a protest today and like I feel bad about it, but it's like would me canceling everything I'm doing to be at the street at this protest make a difference? Am I able to galvanize other people by talking about it on stream to maybe get them to go to a protest? Or am I just making excuses for myself because I'm lazy? Like, I don't know the answer.
I feel like there's because you have two different paths, right? So you could have went to the protest or you could have went here, and you could reach the same amount of people, but they'll be different people.
Yep.
You know?
And like I said, you know,
because you reach.
Yeah, and I keep hoping that like my niche is that, and I did an interview recently with Jessie Gender, who's a leftist video creator I really respect.
I watched that whole one. Yeah, I did.
She's a trans woman, and she talks a lot about like queer culture in like Star Trek and stuff like that. But we were talking about like mental health and stuff like that, and just like she's been having to deal with a lot of there's been a hate campaign against her, basically. Like, so in one of her videos, she was talking about how back she used to have a lot of toxic masculinity, and like one time she like threw her cat at the wall or something, and she was confessing it as this period of thing that she has great shame over, and it was like a demonstration of her giving into this like anger issues, and you know, it's okay because at that point she, you know, I think at the point I identified as a man. And yet, so this hate campaign's like, she abuses animals! And it's like, she didn't kill the cat, she tossed it. And also, she admitted this with great shame. Like, there's just so many people that seem to make a career out of looking for other people to be like, oh, look it, that person's racist, oh, that person's transphobic. And it's, I think they just do it because they feel like...
that is their career,
if they call someone else transphobic, then it means that they can't be transphobic. So... I don't know, it definitely feels like a pretty rough time.
That's Emmy's, I love her.
Feels like a pretty rough time where it's like, what can we do that's actually stopping fascism? But we also can't just like give into doomerism and just be like, well, we're fucked, oh well. Anyway. Should we move on to the next question?
I'm going to add another question in here. It's sort of along the lines you're talking about.
Oh, okay,
can we
sure.
talk about breastfeeding in a public place? I think you can talk about this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right here.
So I breastfed both my kids for about 1.5 years each. And honestly, I never had anyone say anything to me. I do remember being really like nervous about someone saying something. But again, I was in Washington, which is West Coast. You know, if I was in Texas or Florida, it probably would have been more likely. The other thing about breastfeeding that's funny is that like there's like channels on YouTube and stuff where it's just a video of them breastfeeding. And like they rack up all these views because it's like, oh, well, it's allowed. And, you know, I personally, I feel like sexualizing a mother feeding her child is kind of a little fucked up.
Yes.
And, like, the women making these videos know what they're doing. I could never do
that to my kid.
Yeah.
I could never do that to my kid. I could never have a video. I could never publish fetishized content with a minor and know it was being fetishized. Yeah. That's terrifying.
And the thing that
I could post a video on the right way to use a pump. Yeah. If I had milk, I'd be down for that. I'd be like, yo, I got you. But I could never I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And the thing that's also awkward is that like I've never been able to get much to pump out. Like I will wear that thing forever and I will barely get like half a bottle. So like when I'd live stream or something, I would breastfeed on camera occasionally, but I wouldn't be like, oh my god, look at my baby. I'd just be like, do. So anyway, blah, 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 you know, like I wasn't like, oh, and it's, and they were babies. Like now, you know, I'm never topless on camera with my kids, like, cause I just don't, people are gonna fap to it. Having my kids on earlier when I was painting his face, that was like one of the first times in a very long time I've even had my kids on camera at all. And I'm always like, about it. But yeah, I don't know, it's wild to me that like it's like Twitch with the whole meta, you know, like towing the line up to sexual. It's like, oh, breastfeeding isn't sexual, but there's a reason breastfeeding photos get a lot of views, and it's because that's the closest a lot of people can get to seeing nipples. If women were allowed to have our nipples visible not only while breastfeeding, then breastfeeding itself wouldn't be fetishized as much, because you would see nipples anywhere.
Good. Which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Good. Like, adults breastfeeding, you know, that's a kink, that's fine. You should not be jacking off to a mother feeding her child. I just, no, I'm sorry. I would get guys, too, all the time. They're like, can you have a video of you hand expressing? They wanted videos of me. Oh, yeah, speaking of longtime fans or whatever, I had another guy who had followed me for years, and he was like, since I'm a longtime fan, I want to buy some of your breast milk. I had a lot of requests to buy my breast milk and a lot of requests to buy videos of me hand expressing milk. So there's a lot of fetishists out there, and that is totally fine, but that is not what I was doing. And the fact that I say over and over I don't do sexual content, and yet they still request that, shows that they have no respect for me. They just see me as a pair of tits.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's absolutely it. They're just there to fetishize you. They have no respect for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can we talk about your A, Mark? Societal shame around the body, especially female presenting bodies, how does it impact your mental health?
So,
In your view, how does societal shame around the body, especially female presenting bodies, impact mental health?
so I have had social esteem issues, self-esteem issues for a long time. And even though I'm fully, like, I'm very feminist and I'm very, like, fuck having to live for male approval, it's still hard to fight against the indoctrination from childhood where we are rated, our appearances determine our worth far more than our brains, our personality, our accomplishments. Like, that stuff might be flavor text, but our bodies are evaluated, our fuckability is evaluated from a very young age. And the example that I give is look at the comments on a TED Talk. You know, the videos of people giving TED Talks. And if it's a guy, unless they're like extremely hot or extremely fat or disabled or whatever, there's not going to be comments about their appearance. But you look at a video of any woman, doesn't matter what she looks like, doesn't matter what she's talking about, there's going to be comments about her appearance. And if she's, you know, very plus size or whatever, there's going to be even more comments like that. That's like the perfect demonstration. They're like talking about neurophysics.
That's a good point.
And you got all these fucking comments that are like, oh, she's got a big nose, or oh, she's, you know, whatever. And like, that's just like perfect proof to me. And like guys, you know, I'll talk to men who are like, why are you mad at me saying you got nice tits? And the thing is that for a man to have a random person to be like, oh, first of all, saying you have a hot body is not the same as nice tits. I don't really like people saying you have a hot body either. But for a man, it's such a rare occurrence that they're not used to being evaluated by their appearance first. Whereas for a woman, it just hits different. It's just like, I approve of you or I don't approve of you. So yeah, I mean, it affects my mental health, and that it's very depressing to feel like it doesn't matter what I accomplish, you know, what I accomplish, it doesn't matter what's coming out of my mouth. The only thing that will really matter in the minds of most people in this society is what I look like. It fucks with your health. It makes you depressed. The fact that I have my nipples visible means that I will always be discounted as someone doing porn, even though I'm specifically not. It's depressing.
That's so sad, being fat shamed growing up too. That's awful.
Well, not even fat shame, but just like anything. I've always been very skinny, and I got bullied a lot for being skinny. I got bullied a lot for being pale. I got bullied a lot for being shy. Believe it or not, up until like my 20s, I never talked. I was super quiet. And so I was just, no, I that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, like perfectly normal body weight, whatever. There will be people out there being like, you're ugly. So you can never be fully approved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because oh, you look like that one girl who I jerked off to, and then she blocked me because I sent her a picture of my jerk off. So you're a whore, and I hate you, you fatty. It's like, I love it for you. Love it for you.
Yeah.
That's also true. Do you want to expand on that? I won't talk for you there, but it is very interesting. Well, you have here robbing female presenting people of the right of their own bodies, objectification by patriarchal forces, and blaming women for men not controlling themselves.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's all about the onus of responsibility, where it's like, oh, a girl can't have her bra strap showing in school because it's going to make the other male students get distracted. It's like, maybe teach the male students to keep their eyes to their fucking self. Why are you making her control? And it's like, the people give me the argument that we can't allow women to go topless in public because they'll get assaulted more. First of all, that's not true. Women are assaulted regardless of what we wear. Second of all, how about make it, I mean, it's already illegal to assault, but how about you make it, like, actually enforced more? Like, don't be like, oh, we don't want you to get assaulted, therefore you have less rights. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's not working. We're still getting raped left and right. So.
And they always get off, too. Yep. We still get raped and then they get off.
Yep. Oh,
they get off and then they get off again. And then we get fucked. We get ostracized for
it's the what was she wearing?
Talking up about it.
Yeah, it's the what was she wearing?
And then it's like, what is she wearing, as well as like, oh, what does she do for a living? Why was she in that area? Yep. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
that's why I just say concept is fire. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Rape culture, yeah. And see, that's kind of a spin away, but that's one of the things that drives me crazy about censorship too, because you can't really talk about, like, the people who are going to say rape culture are the people speaking out against it. But you can't say rape. So you can't say, like, hashtag rape culture or whatever, even though you're literally talking out against rape.
True.
The only ones who are not going to use that word are people who are pro-rape. And you're not stopping their content. So it's just like the whole censorship thing just doesn't make any sense.
You're right. Censorship is wild. The fact that you can't say words is literally crazy. Like, words that are important to talk about, and that's got to be why, right?
Yep.
You can't say on Twitch, you can't say the word nipples because you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it. You can't talk about your gender identity that makes people uncomfortable. You can't do that on our platform.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, it's like, so I try to be careful about this because I don't want to come off as like Islamophobic, but the people who are like, you know, women shouldn't be allowed to show their nipples because it's sexual or whatever. It's like, where does that end? Like,
True.
you know, in some countries, women can't show their hair. You know, in some countries, you can't show your feet. Yeah. Lots of men fetishize feet. Yeah. My question is, where is the cutoff? How many men have to fetishize that body part before women are not allowed to show it? Because it's like,
True.
Oh no, I'm doing porn. There's men that fetishize feet, so I just made porn. Like, I mean, and then you have like TikTok and Twitch and stuff like that. Like, you can't have a video focused on your feet because it might be fetishized. But it's like, it's a foot.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, though. You can't have a bulge as a boy, but that's the difference. A woman's genitals are defined as her camel toe and her nipples. A man's genitals are only defined as your bulge. That's fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
How come you can have nipples then?
Yeah.
Why
how
can
are
you have
nipples?
If I can't have nipples, you shouldn't be able to have nipples.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing.
Also very true.
Because I get really fed up with the nudists because almost all of them are cis, most of them are male, and they always jump from me wanting the same right to go topless in public, online, and in public without getting banned or arrested for sexually explicit nudity that they have to full body nudity, because to them, being cis men, they're so used to already being allowed topless that they're just like, nudity, female nipples, penis. And I'm like, they're different things. One is explicitly sexist. One is explicitly misogynistic. The other one is puritanical, and I happen to support both. I happen to support normalizing, you know, non-sexual nudity full body. But, like, I get so mad at these nudists who just, because they want to benefit from it. They want to benefit from the conversation. So for them to benefit, we have to go to full genitals. And so I have a video, that's why I stopped calling myself a nudist, and it's up on my site, toplessness.org/no-more-nudism. And I go into detail about that, how, like, I lost my shit. Because they don't give a shit about what I'm fighting for. They're just trying to use me to fight for what they want.
That's me. That would have done it for me too. That would have infuriated me.
So unalive. So I watch a lot of video essays. I'm really into ones where they talk about like horror games and stuff like that. And there's been a trend I've noticed of pushing back against that, where they're just straight up saying like suicide or whatever like that. Because the thing is that even if they do jump through all these hoops, there's still just a constant chance of being demonetized. Again, I can't even monetize my videos. I'm banned from monetization when I'm not banned outright. But for people who get paid, you know, to make videos or whatever, it's just this constant impossible trying to not say the wrong words, and it's harming actual discussions about rape and stuff like that, to be like, oh, we can't say that word. There's one that I really like, and she's smaller, and there's way more views, called Mert, KKMERTKAYKAY, and she was doing a video, and she was talking about like rape culture and everything like that, and just how it just furders it makes it impossible to have an actual conversation because you have to be so careful. So it's funny because like they say on the live, and I was watching one, I think it was Jack Saint just a couple days ago, and he's like, you know, blah blah blah, unalive, I'm sorry, suicide. Like, he just flat out said it in the video. I was like, yes.
That's great.
But you know,
that's great.
He probably couldn't monetize that video, so second YouTube.
I think they do it on purpose, Emmy. Like the fact that I literally submitted all these questions. So this one here, what are some ways people can begin unlearning body shame and cultural discomfort around nudity? And Twitch said I cannot talk about this on their platform. I submitted every single one of these questions, and every single one of them they said no to. They said, no, you can't, no.
Okay, so really quick,
so like,
I was just going to say, Official Alpha Wolf is saying you can show your tits on TikTok if you just grab a fake baby. If you don't have a baby but it looks like breastfeeding, you're good. Just sharing a loophole for you. Loopholes don't work for me because I have a dedicated cabal of haters who false report everything I post. I get people who are like, oh, you should do the transparent try-haul and like all these things that other creators use to get around it. I have fully clothed videos still get banned as sexually explicit nudity because all it takes is some haters to false report it, and then my account gets blacklisted because it's like, well, we banned these other videos, so clearly she must. It doesn't matter that my account is 10 fucking years old. So it's just frustrating when I have people come in, new people, and I understand that their heart is in, you know, the right place when they're like, oh, if you do this, you won't get banned. Nope, not for me. Not for me. I still get banned.
You probably can't submit a question, but I can. I'm a legendary content creator, which means that I'm held to a different standard. So I'm not an affiliate. I'm not a what's the word? Apprentice. I'm not that word. I'm legendary, which means that I'm not allowed to have the political tag on my channel. I'm not allowed to have a sexual themes tag on my channel. I'm not allowed to stream in pools, hot tubs, and beaches because women in bathing suits are sexual. I'm not allowed to stream gambling, and I'm not allowed to stream. Oh, I'm not allowed to talk about marijuana on stream and like be like, you should do drugs, kids, because drugs will help you with your period cramps. Drugs.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
So, okay, so we're talking about...
Thank you for the follow.
Can you reread the question? I forgot. Sorry.
Yep, number 9. What are some ways people can begin unlearning body shame or cultural discomfort around nudity?
So again, that's where we're stuck in the catch-22, where because you can only see female nipples in places that allow full porn, you are just going to have to make a mental effort to be like, even though this is on Joystick, you know, if I had my shirt off right now, but I was still talking just like I am, if you continue to masturbate every time you see female nipples, you're never going to break that connection. You have to physically exert the effort and be like, if I saw a guy in this exact same state of dress, would I be like, oh, I have to, you know, obviously, you know, if you're not gay, blah, 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 but like, would I be like, this is sexual? If not, then you need to stop. Yeah. Also, especially among nudists or whatever, a question that gets brought up a lot by men is, how do I stop myself from having an erection if I go there? And, you know, I don't have a penis, so I can't say 100%, but my impression from talking to other nudist men is that the biggest way you desensitize yourself to nudity is you go to a non-sexual nudity place. You go to a nudist place, you go to a clothing optional place, you go somewhere where they're not having sex, and you will just stop noticing. Because that's exactly what happens with male chest, because people are so used to seeing male nipples everywhere, unless the guy is being very overtly sexual. You go, you know, a guy goes jogging through the park topless, you might be like, if you're like into men, you might be like, oh, he's hot. But you're not going to be like, oh my God, we need that. We need that for women. But again, how do we get that right before people come around to the idea? If we had websites where we were giving people the same right, that would be a start. But so yeah, I don't know. Just
so you're telling me we should start harassing men when they're shirtless?
Honestly,
that's what you're telling me.
Honestly,
listen. If we gotta start harassing men when they're shirtless, and I mean men gotta start going up to men, you gotta start talking about it.
That's the thing, because if women do it, so there's two problems with, not that I'm like seriously advocating for like being rude to people, but to make those men realize how much privilege they have. The problem with women being the one to do it is, one, there's a lot more physical risk to us. And two, if that guy's straight, he's going to be like, oh, this girl is like noticing my nipples. Like, it has to be from another bro. And bro have to be like, you know, hey, put a shirt on. No one wants to see that. You know, like you gotta treat them the way that they treat women. And that might make a couple more people notice. I don't know if it'll change anything, but at least it'll feel good. Oh my gosh. Wow, your chat's picking up.
They're always picking. They're picking. I'm actually really surprised. Can I just tell you how many people showed up? And I am so impressed.
Yeah.
I know so many of these names from my platform, and they showed up to a site that does have porn on it. And I was like, I don't know how many people are going to show up, because I'm going to be honest, like, that is a big ask. That is a big ask to ask.
It is.
For you to come and hop over. And none of these people that are in my chat actually subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody does, and it's none of these people.
Yeah.
So you know how cool that is.
Well, and one of the big issues with something like Joystick or whatever is that you do have to prove your identity to sign up. And I have people like one of my regulars who was in Twitch, because he is pretty techie, and so he knows how to like get around, use ad blockers and stuff like that. It doesn't work with Joystick, so he will not come to my Joystick streams because he doesn't want to reveal his identity. And again, that's the thing with only being allowed to have my nipples visible on sites where you have to prove your identity because it's a porn site.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I can't just go on YouTube with my nipples visible the way any man can. It has to be someone who proves they're an adult. And so, like, that's the thing is that, unfortunately, I do have some people that I interact with constantly on Discord and Twitch and everything like that, but they won't join Joystick because they don't want to give their legal identity to a porn site. So
yeah, absolutely.
Is it a porn site? Okay, so maybe you have very different definitions of porn than I do, but I feel like if someone is getting...
that's my glucose guardian. That's my glucose guardian. He's not mine.
Yeah.
But that is my glucose guardian.
Because if you're getting paid to jack off on camera, to me that's porn. I mean, maybe if you're saying it has to be full penetration to be porn, it's not a porn site, but yeah, make them wear nipple covers. Big tentacle energy, that's hilarious. Hilarious name.
Great.
Oh yeah, Ann Sao is a streamer on here that's showed up in my streams a couple of times. Hi.
Thanks for showing up.
See, this is what I'm talking about, is that the community of streamers on Joystick, like, it's smaller, but it's a lot more inclusive, and like the streamers on Joystick want to help each other out. They're not like, you can only watch me. They're like, hey, if you like this kind of content, then here's my friend that you might check them out. I'm reading both. I'm streaming on mine. I have the Discord view of Basti on one side and me on the other, and then I have both. Like, you can see it if you go to my page. And I'm also recording all of this, so I can upload it as a YouTube video later. YouTube and then to my own website, because YouTube will ban stuff even if it's fully censored, but yeah. So if you feel like you are missing anything, you can go back and watch that. It's a little distracting because it's like there's 2 chats and we haven't streamed on here before, but yeah. I give up on...
You're doing great.
I give up on keeping up with the chat. There's too much now. If you have a burning comment or question that you want us to talk about, post it again, because I can't catch up. I've never had this happen. Should we continue?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. How can we push for policy change or normalize toplessness without it becoming over-sexualized in the public eye?
So it's kind of the chicken and egg scenario. So for instance, I have done streams before where I was topless doing house chores. And it's doing stuff that's topless in a non-sexual way. You are going to have people that are going to fetishize it. But the thing is, if we limit ourselves what we're allowed to do based on who might fetishize it, like, we might as well cover our entire bodies and never leave the house. Because there will always people out there fetishizing it. And I do think it's important to see non-sexual nudity and, separately from that, non-sexual female nipples, not just talk about it, but actually see it, because that's the only way that you can break your connection. So, again, it kind of goes back to before, it's up to the people who, are on a porn site but are watching something that's not pornographic. Like, when they're watching me just edit my videos and I'm not, like, sticking anything, I'm not sucking anything, I'm just, they wouldn't think it was sexual if I did have a shirt on. You need to not masturbate. I know it's hard, but you need to not be like, oh, she's so hot, I have to masturbate, You have to make the effort to break that connection. And, yeah, if you are able to go to, like, a clothing optional place, that helps, but there's not that lot of them. I have one video, and I've been debating it or not debating it, but I need to, like, get it out the door someday, called The Isms of Nudism, and it's going to be an exploration of many barriers that a lot of people face when trying to explore nudism, because, again, the middle-aged, straight, white, cis, often male nudists just don't even think about it. Ableism is a really big one, where, like, all the clothing optional beaches, like here in Portland, there's 2 that I know of, Rooster Rock and Collins Beach. Both of them require you to, like, walk through, like, forest and sand dunes and everything like that to get out there. So if you're in a wheelchair or, you're not, like, capable of hiking, you cannot get out to the water. Another one is economic. Like, it takes money, and it takes a job, willing to let you take several days off. It takes transportation. It takes childcare. It takes all this stuff to be able to go out to a place. And like the thing is that people tend to be very self-centered and see the world through their own experience. And so like if you're retired and you are able-bodied and you're not gay and you don't have tattoos and you're not trans or whatever like that, like there's stuff that you're just not aware of. And honestly, there are a lot of nudists who want to have that kind of stuff brought to their awareness. They don't want nudism to die. There are nudists, though, however, who are like, I only want family friendly. What they mean is straight, white, cis, no tattoos, no sex work, no, you know. Right, and it's like, and then they're
no
like,
fake titties.
And they're like, why is nudism dying? Why do you think?
Yeah.
I forgot what the question was.
I'm gonna pull some from the chat here. You did it perfectly. Alpha work. If you rub one off to a video, that's bad because they didn't give consent, if I'm understanding. So if they're filming porn, that's them consenting. It's porn. But if you're watching someone just sitting there with their shirt off, talking about advocacy, and you're like, I have to beat off to this. Yeah. Don't let the woman talk. You're becoming the problem in that moment. If you can't let a woman sit there with her boobs out talking to you, but I think you can, because like your girlfriend, she comes home, she's still on the sofa, she's got her tits out because it's the weather, right? She's sitting there, she's topless, and you can not jerk off in front of her. You can feel like, oh, she's just topless. Or when she's cleaning the shower and she's shaped like a frog, you know, and she's in there and she's like this, she's like scrubbing in the shower, and you're like, I gotta just pull it out and just fucking go at it because she's sitting there grouting in the bathroom. Yeah. You know the difference. What if it was your sister? Hear me out. If your sister was sitting there grouting in the bathroom, then what do you do?
Yeah.
So you just there's a time and a place to jerk off, and it's great. But you gotta make sure the parties are consenting.
Yeah, and I mean, at the very least,
I'm a partner that cleans.
At the very least, like I get so many men who think like, oh, the greatest compliment you can give a woman is to let her know she's fuckable, and therefore, like, you know, how dare she get mad at me saying that I masturbated to her? If you are really determined to masturbate, no matter how many times I say please don't like treat my content as sexual, don't tell me about it. Don't tell me about it. That's where you're being a bully. That's where you're doing it as a power trip.
I want you to shame them. That's it.
That's the power trip. It's the flasher thing.
I jerked off to you and I'm telling you about it.
It's the flashing thing. The flasher is not a nudist. They're doing it because they want you to be like, it's the same thing as being you know, an asshole because you want the attention. But no, really quick, so the being turned on by someone grouting thing. So there's this movie, it's pretty old, called Chocolat, and it's about this like woman that moves into this like small town and opens a chocolaterie or whatever. And there's one scene that I always think of where this like kind of old married housewife comes to her and kind of is like, I'm having a hard time getting my husband to want to have sex with me. And so the lady gives some chocolate and is like, give this to your husband. And so she has it out, and the husband accidentally eats a whole bunch of it, not knowing it's like an aphrodisiac. And then he walks in and she's like cleaning the bathroom and she's like, do, and he like talks to her and she's like, what? And then it cuts to them having sex. But it's like, it's because he just took a whole bunch of aphrodisiacs. But it's like, it's kind of sweet because she wants to have more sex. He just didn't have the urge to have it. But, you know, obviously there was a conversation between her grouting and them having sex. It wasn't just, I'm going to start sticking it in her, you know? So even in that case, there's steps. So.
You also do have, with your partner, some people have running consent, but there are always, like, if I'm pooping on the toilet, I do not consent for you to come put your penis in my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm in a private moment, okay? And that's not saying that my limit is somebody else's limit. Because, like, if I'm sleeping and we're in a relationship and you're like, I could get a little snuggle bang in, that's fine. Yeah. But everyone's got different lines where they're like, you can't. And they only know that by talking to each other, which we all know is gay. So.
Well, and back to the censorship, that's why, like, making it taboo to have all these conversations, that's how you end up with, like, men not knowing what consent is, because you can't be, like, there's more than just taking a woman unconscious behind a dumpster and raping her versus perfect, everything's above board. There's many degrees, but if you're banned from having those conversations, on places where people can actually find and discuss it, you legit have a bunch of guys who do not understand. And like we get frustrated with the not all men, you know, like, oh well, I never did that or whatever. There's a lot of behavior that a lot of men do, not realizing that it's bad because they can't really find these conversations. I have a video, and I did it ages ago, and I need to like redo it because this one was just a really quick one-off that I did, but it's called The Fallacy of Good Men, and it was in I guess kind of in response to this Hannah Gadsby stand-up that was like half comedy, half discussion. But she started the thing, this was right around Me Too, and she started the thing with like, I want all the men in the room all the good men in the room to give themselves a round of applause. And so the men are like, okay. And she's like, you're gonna regret that. And then she went into detail again about how like there's degrees of horrible Harvey Weinstein level awful and perfect paragon of protecting women whether they want it or not, to quote Trump. But yeah, it's just really frustrating because we literally have all this ignorance that's not necessarily the guy's fault. You have to seek out, you have to go to porn sites or, you know, go to like Mastodon, which nobody knows how to use except programmers, to even find these conversations. So we have to have some patience for people that maybe would be good allies or be good male feminists, but they haven't been exposed to the right kind of conversation yet. Blech. This is more streaming than I usually do.
You're doing great. My partner does have a running consent with me while I am sleeping.
Yeah.
My partner does. I think it's cool. It's chill, bro.
So
that being said, not if I'm sleeping at my mom's house. You know, like there's always limits. in our bed, that's great. But if I'm at my mom's house, that's not okay. No.
Yeah. So I know Gutsurker has this issue that he keeps bringing up that he's really concerned about. So there is a toy company. You know how I mentioned how a lot of streamers on Joystick, they have these remote toys where you tip to make it go off. So the main company is called LoveSense. And according to Gutsurker and some sex workers that he's talked to or whatever, LoveSense has actually set it up where you can tip on Twitch to set this thing off. And it's like obviously very against Twitch's guidelines. Now, my understanding is that basically all the API stuff is on the side of LoveSense, and Twitch hasn't said, like, we're okay with it. But Gutsurker is concerned that Twitch should be more outspoken about saying it's not allowed.
They do not.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, I don't think Twitch is okay with it.
If they don't admit fault, they don't admit fault, so they never will.
Yeah. I'll
give you an example. Recently, we were using the Stream Together feature, and the Stream Together feature, you were unable to use it offline. And I sent in a report with my partner contact, and I was like, hey, the next Twitch wrap, can you please talk about why we can't practice Stream Together offline? It's incredibly inconvenient. The day before they did their like podcast, they allowed you to stream together offline, and during the stream they go, Bastila asked why you can't do this offline. That's weird. You can do it offline. See, I can show you right now. It's a lie. A blatant lie. They also said in that exact same podcast that there is no AI in Twitch, and I know for a fact there is. They fired 500 people 2 Januaries ago. I know a handful of people that got laid off, and I know exactly what they implemented in their place. So they lie. They just lie to your face over and over again. They also say that you don't get banned from mass reports, but it is the only way you get banned.
Yeah.
That is it. The only way you get banned on that platform is mass reports.
Yeah. Well, it's like YouTube always claims that they have real people review the appeals. I've had maybe 1 out of 20 videos actually get reinstated on YouTube, and all of that was when I still used Twitter, and I would do @TeamYouTube, and very rarely it would work. But most of the time, I would submit an appeal, and it'll just auto get rejected seconds after I submit it. And yet they're like, oh, we have real people, look at the appeal. I was like, no, you don't. Of course, even if they did, you know, it's going to be some like severely underpaid person in a third world country. Well, not third world, undeveloped country. And they're always going to err on the side of better ban it just in case because they don't want to get fired. And so it's just, these companies always lie. They always claim that not everything is automated. And it's like, bro, you're not fooling anyone. We know it's automated. I just don't understand where the profit incentive is to be constantly pussyfooting around what's sexy or not. Like, I don't understand why. I know that it's Amazon, all that stuff, but I don't understand why Twitch doesn't just come out with a softcore porn category. Like,
The advertisers wouldn't like it.
yeah.
The Christians wouldn't like it, and so the Christians would boycott
But
Amazon.
how are they
That's what it is.
okay? Like, Amazon sells sex toys. Like, so I don't understand. Like,
But it's not. It's like gay in the movies.
yeah,
They are fine. When you can be gay in the movies, just don't kiss. Don't shove it down our throats. Don't hold hands with
yeah.
your partner. You don't need to have a snuggle scene in the morning. You can sleep in different beds. Just you could be gay, just not
Just don't let
in
us
any
know.
way.
Yeah.
Just don't tell us that you're
I
gay.
just feel like it would be less. I don't know if stressful is a word, but like just this constant like what's sexual or not seems like it takes so much time and energy, and you're still like pissing people off either way. But I don't know.
Hmm.
You would know more about the behind the scenes than I do.
Alpha Wolf says, my girlfriend is topless and she's mad at me because I don't try to initiate sex when she's topless, but I'm so used to her being topless around the house that I don't give her attention now. So you've desensitized yourself to her toplessness, but there are other things you can do to initiate that you're ready for sex. You can, depends on the woman. So, like for me, if my partner was like, I want to bang you, he could do the dishes and then put a little lotion in his hand and rub my shoulders and be like, hey, I did the dishes. And I'd be like, oh, that's it. Take me now. And I understand it's a little sarcastic, but like I'm here for
Yeah.
a little bit of sarcasm.
Yeah. What's like my
So,
husband will get handsy in bed, and honestly like I'm mostly just too tired most of the time. It sucks because he gets up really early for
hmm
work. So he goes to bed really early, so our
hmm
schedules don't really sync. Most of the time that I am in the
yeah.
mood, he's like dead asleep. So it's hard to
hmm
sync up. But I mean, yeah, that is just something like when we. This is like I'm talking about sex more than I almost ever do in my actual streams. But when we first started dating for like the first year, we were like rabbits, like multiple times a day, and it was like the first time I really had a partner that I was both attracted to and attracted by, or you know that they were attracted to me. I have a long history of getting crushes on people that don't like me. And so like yeah, and then it's just we got older, we had kids, it kind of trickled out. I like to think that if we can get our schedules synced, like when we go to VidCon, my sister-in-law and her partner are going to come too, and they've already said they're going to
hmm
kidnap the kids and sleep with them in their room a couple of
That's
times.
cute.
So that's going to be like my
Uh-huh.
husband and my first chance to be in a room without the kids. Like not that the kids go in our room, but like and he will go to the bed about the same time as me. So we'll see what happens.
hmm hmm
But yeah, I mean, I would
Oh
say your
yeah.
girlfriend getting mad about you not having sex, like, the, you need to have a conversation. You need to figure out some kind
Always
of.
the
I
answer.
feel like you and I should have a talk show where we like give advice. But you have to have a conversation with her and be like, so I'm not quite sure when you want to initiate sex or not. So like, give me a sign. And also it depends on the girl, but
Say a
what
code
happens if
word.
you start like, massage and like reach around? Like for me, I'd probably be irritated. But I also have kids and everything like that, so maybe she would be like, oh wow, he's like giving a massage and starting to, now I want to have sex or something like that. So I would just communicate. It's all about communication. Nobody is a mind reader, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people make the assumption, never attribute to malice what could be ignorance, basically. Because it's like a lot of the times
Yeah.
people will be like, oh, you're doing this thing to irritate me. It's like, no, I didn't even know you were irritated by this thing. And that's something that my husband
hmm
and I still have to constantly have conversations. Is like I'll find out that something I do is annoying him, but he never told me, so I didn't know it was annoying him. So how can I stop doing the annoying thing if I didn't know he
Yeah.
was being annoyed in the first place?
Yep. Absolutely.
How long have you? Can I
Absolutely.
ask out of curiosity how long you've been with your partner?
2 years. 2 years.
It's a good amount. You're getting to know each other.
2 years.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we've
actually.
been friends for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
So we knew each other for about a year and a half before we slept together.
When did you
And we
officially?
didn't live in the same
When did
place
you decide to
after we
start?
slept together.
When,
So I was in California and he was in Toronto, Canada.
oh, okay.
And I got out of a relationship that was sexless, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
friend, I think you're really hot." My friend's like, "I am really hot." I'm like, "I think we'd probably meld really well. So hear me out. What if we just do a little vacation thing, see how things go?" And it went really well, and we had this conversation while I was there about us being enough for each other. So then we like went back to our places. We got our affairs in order. Like he was sort of like casually seeing someone, like openly and casually. So broke that off. And then in, I think, 3 weeks, I came and visited him again and we were official. And then I moved in another 2 months. I moved in another 2 months. I relocated.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, and it worked out so far, so that's cool. Although it's just funny that you guys both are used to being on camera, whereas mine is not, doesn't do anything. Like, when we first started dating, I actually was able to get him on videos with me sometimes, and then it's like once we got married, like he jokes that he doesn't have to impress me anymore, so now I can't get him to be on camera. And like I have ideas, like I want to do a video with him where I want to ask him like how to be a good male feminist, because you know he's actually like proud of me. Like he brings up my topless equality stuff to like people at work and everything. I sometimes I make shirts and I'll give it to him, and I had one.
That's so
and
cute.
he wore it to a PTA meeting, and I'm like, dude, don't wear a topless equality. He's like, I don't care.
That is so funny.
And I'm like, okay. Nobody said anything,
That's
thank
so
God.
funny.
But you know, he's very like, he thinks it's awesome what I do. I get men who are like, how does your husband let you do these videos? I'm like, well, first of all, if he didn't let me do them, I wouldn't be with that person. I'm not interested in being with someone that controlling. So.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for following. Do you want to go and skip the queer and come back to them and go to the last one? Because I want to keep on the topic that we're on.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever.
Okay.
My husband works at he's basically a mechanic. And so he works like 5:30 in the morning to 3:30. So basically he comes home. Sorry, someone's asking in my chat about what my husband does. So yeah, he comes home.
No, you're perfect.
He watches like an hour of anime or something. I maybe get one episode of a show out from him, and then he goes to bed. So we don't really, we have weekends off together, but other than that, so. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Do you see topless or body freedom advocacy becoming more inclusive and intersex over time?
Intersex? Oh,
intersectional.
Intersex. Okay, I was like intersex, like people that don't have or have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have one of them I need to do an interview with. We've been talking about it. We never got it happening, but
that's very cool.
I think that the rest of the world, maybe yes. I mean, Europe is already like fairly, like you go to a beach and you'll see a lot of female nipples too and everything. However, fascism definitely seems to be on the rise, especially in the US, but also like a lot of these other nations are trending right. Like the far right party, I think in Germany, came very close to winning. Now, you know, in Canada, the less Trumpy guy got elected, which is good. I think the US is going to get very, very bad. And I mean, Christo-fascists have all the power right now. And, you know, like I do vote Democrat, but I am so fucking mad at how useless the Democrats are. They're just like, oh yeah, you know, Trump shouldn't do these things, blah, blah, blah.
Just placeholders.
But they don't do anything to stop it. So I don't think the US is ever going to be less misogynistic. I mean, if you hadn't noticed, women's rights are, what few rights we had are under assault even more. Like, we lost bodily autonomy in half the states.
Yeah, we did.
And they're trying to make it a national ban.
They try to make it religious too. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like
to me.
It's all bullshit of like, oh, separation of church and state, but you know, you can't, like Islam, you know, Islam, Muslim, whatever like that, you can't have any effect on our laws, but Christians are going to decide on the laws. So unfortunately, and what really frustrates me is websites too, because like, yes, you have the like credit card companies and the platforms like at odds with each other, where it's like, well, it's like playing chicken. It's like, well, you allow topless equality, no, you allow topless equality, and so nobody does. But I think that the only thing that will ever change is a financial thing. We need a competitor. Mastodon don't exist, but it's very difficult to use. We need to support each other. We need to have a lot more content creators reaching out to each other and being like, hey, go check out this person. Even their website, not only pushing if they're a YouTuber, if they're Instagram, be like, hey, go to their actual website, because we can never rely on the platforms themselves to make things better. The only way that they will ever make things better is if they're like, oh shit, we're losing money because people are getting so fed up with our censorship that they're not using our site anymore. but people are so addicted.
That's what I tried to say before we left Twitch tonight.
Yeah.
I tried to really, really put it in.
So good on all these people for taking the effort to leave Twitch and try a new place. And, you know,
I think there's some watching on Incog too. Like they're watching, they're just not logged in.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So, you know,
so
good on them for
see
putting
you.
that effort in. But yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to get a lot worse in the US, but I have hope that at least the reflection of how fascist it's getting here causes other nations to be like, we can't take it for credit what we have achieved. We need to, you know, like Roe versus Wade should have been made law. And so hopefully other countries take that into account. So, I don't know. That's not very good news, but we need to make our own website. We need to make it financially disadvantageous for YouTube and Twitch and everything to keep up the censorship that they've got. But that's going to require a fuck ton of people, so we got to get people to cut the cord, and I don't know how you make people do that.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Rusty. This one, this is actually ties in perfectly with what you were saying.
Yeah.
What are some common media portrayals of nudity that you feel do more harm than good?
So, playing into voyeurism, like someone was mentioning Sandlot or whatever, and like the idea of a woman being naked knowing she's visible can only ever possibly be because she wants attention. That's like the stuff that I get where it's like, oh, you have your nipples visible, therefore you must be doing it for attention. Media, like, there's never a woman just happens to be topless. It's always because she wants men to jack off to her.
It's always in porn.
Or
yeah.
they're making fun of it. Like, with nudists, for instance, they're like, oh, let's make fun of this weirdo for being naked. And it's like, it's never just, okay, they happen to be a nudist, you know? And so I don't think that's really going to change. I think that we have to be the ones to make our own movies, unfortunately, and stuff that has casual nudity. You do have, like, sometimes French movies or something like that, they'll just have, like, a female nipple and it's not a joke and it's not porn. American movies? So, I mean, like, I'm blanking on, like, specific examples, but yeah, I can't really think of any good examples off the top of my head of an American movie or even, like, a you know, British movie where female nipples weren't sexual or a joke.
There's one called Wetlands. It's a German movie. It is about a lesbian coming to age. But she is non-sexually nude in the movie, and you see her nipples, and it's not a sex. She's like skateboarding topless because it's cool.
Yeah, but again, that's German.
I'm cool.
Like, that's the thing. You have to go to
that's exactly it. It's German.
You have to go to non-American.
It's non-American. American have.
Yeah, and again, like, if
even to sell perfume ads, they're like sex. You want to wear this perfume?
Yeah.
Sex.
Yeah, exactly. But again, you know, it ties back into if you want to stop viewing all nipples as sexual, you have to also have the self-control to not watch a German movie with a topless woman and be like, oh, she's topless, therefore this is sexual, therefore I must masturbate. Like, I understand if you feel like you want to masturbate, like, it's hard, maybe really get away from that, go watch some actual porn.
What about, okay, so a movie which has a sex scene in it, okay, it doesn't show penetration, but you see the woman's nipples. What are your thoughts on jerking off to that? So what am I watching right now? I'm watching a show called Banshee, and every single episode there's a sex scene. He fucks every girl in this whole thing. Me and my partner make a joke that the only requirement to be a woman in this movie is you have to fuck this guy over and over again.
Yeah.
He raw dogs him. He comes inside of him. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Wow.
So, like, if you're watching a show and they're having sex in the show and you see nipples, where is this porn? Can I jerk off to this?
Well, first of all, if you're talking about, like, fictional media, I think that you can be less restrictive than, like, of a real person, for sure. I would say if they're having sex, then yeah, it's already sexual. I think of Bridgerton, for instance. Like, Bridgerton they don't actually have sex, but they very heavily intimate it, and they have, like, all these rules, like they have to have, like, a deflated ball between their bodies when they film the scene so that they're not actually touching genitals and stuff like that, but it's simulated sex, so it's strange to me how we have this, like, toe the line. I think it's fine, just, you know, maybe have that conversation with yourself about is this sexual or not. Are they having sex? Yeah. Is she just laying there naked? why am I like, oh my god, I have to
Mm-hmm.
masturbate to this? No one wants to
Oh
risk
yeah,
casual nudity and
that's what I
risk.
want to be.
Yeah.
The horror movie, that's who I want to be. The people are like, would you be in a movie? I want to be the girl in a horror movie that's like having sex with her partner and then gets like an at tomahawk to her
You
spine.
want to be
That's
her?
how that's who I want to be.
Why do you want to
That's
get
like if I
killed?
was ever in a movie, I like horror movies and
Yeah.
I think there's something like shame like that brings shame if you're like, look at this hot chick with her tits out and then she dies and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm confused and I like that.
You like. See, I like the ones where they
I
lampshade
like
it.
confusing
I
people.
like the ones where they
I like
lampshade it.
confusing people.
Like Cabin in the
What do you
Woods.
mean?
I'm assuming you've seen Cabin in the Woods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one thing where there is a little bit of hope of maybe like the public opinion changing, because I think there are more conversations, especially
Mm-hmm.
like, again, I watch a lot of video essays where they talk about like horror movies and games and stuff, critiquing that
Mm-hmm.
whole punishing people for having sex thing, where it's like always the ones having sex
Mm-hmm.
getting punished, and I think they are getting away from that more, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know how much. I think it's gonna backslide a lot on any progress we've made, because it's like, look at the Target, you know,
Mm-hmm.
hiding all their gay stuff because some conservative people complain and everything. Capitalism is always going to go where the
Mm-hmm.
money goes, and it's whoever is speaking the loudest, basically. So
What about Game of Thrones? Game of
yeah,
Thrones has a lot of sex in it,
yeah.
has nip nops in it. Even you even have okay, I'm gonna be honest, I've seen 3 episodes. You even have the main dragon girl
Yeah.
topless with her dragon.
Yeah.
So I don't think it made it into the movies, did it?
I don't remember her just being
I
topless on the dragons. She had sex topless.
okay, I see. So I don't know because I didn't watch more than 3 episodes because I tried to watch it with my mom and there was so much
Oh
incest, but
yeah,
I was like, I actually can't watch this with you, mom. She's
yeah.
like, why? And I'm like, because they're talking about fucking their brother and like we've been talking about my brother all day and I just it's too much for
So the
me.
thing that's
I
interesting
can't.
about Game of Thrones is that, because I've seen all the first series, I've seen like the first half of the House of the Dragon, but yeah, the incest really squicks me
Hmm.
out, so it's hard for me to get invested in that.
It sticks
But
me. Yeah.
the first season of Game of Thrones has so much random fucking sex with just like lesbians in the background having sex.
Yes.
And then it's like they
Hmm.
realized, because it was, you know, there was like the era, like the Showtime era, where like a lot of shows like that, they just had sex in there. They
Or
realized
plain.
people were actually interested in the plot. People actually were watching the show
Hmm.
because of the plot. The sex, like the amount of people watching it just for the sex was much smaller than people who were interested in the plot. So they actually really tapered off a lot of the unnecessary sex scenes. The thing about
Hmm.
Game of Thrones is people are like, oh, sex, sex, sex. You know what else Game of Thrones has? Torture! Fucking
Yeah.
nails getting pulled out, all this nasty
Yeah.
shit. And people are like, eh. Like, there's this scene where a character
Yeah.
very suddenly gets his head crushed in. And, like, I had read the book, so I
Okay.
knew it was coming. And I still was just
Hmm.
like, I haven't seen it in 20, well, I don't know, it's been 20 years, but however many years, and I can still vividly remember that scene. And it's like, the sex scenes, I was just sort of like, this is silly. But yeah, like, watching shows, I started watching a new one, Sirens, on Netflix, and like I said, my kids have friends that come over a lot, and the premise of the show doesn't say anything about sex or anything like that. 5 minutes into the first episode, there's a sex scene. And it's just like, why? When you have
That's
kids, it's
crazy.
very hard to watch TV.
Yeah.
Because they do,
Yeah,
they shoehorn it into
absolutely.
everything.
That's crazy.
So
That's crazy.
I agree, Rust.
Can you share a positive experience you've had while advocating for topless equality or body freedom?
So it's kind of ironic, but the biggest compliment I say that I get is when I have guys come in and they say, I admit that I came here looking for porn, but then I like started to listen to what you said and I realized you were like making good points, and now I'm like, I try to be a lot more conscious and understand that it's not fair for, you know, tops inequality and stuff like that. And to me that's a really big compliment, because it meant I was able to change someone's mind. It means a lot more than someone who already agrees with me coming in and being like, yes, you reinforced what I said. I mean, like, I'll take that too, but yeah, to
Right.
me it really is a big compliment, because I'm trying to advocate for, like, I always say, don't believe what someone says just because they tell you that. Think about it, make sure it makes sense for you. Here are my reasons for why I think that everyone should have the same right to go topless online and in public, not just people who look male.
Mhm.
But if you disagree, then make that decision. So I don't know if
Mhm.
that quite qualifies, but yeah, I would say that. As far as like actually getting banned and stuff, not really. I haven't really had any good experiences. I do appreciate that our little Discord server has been slowly growing, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Hell yeah.
we're getting some like trans people and sex workers and stuff like that who come by, and it's really
Let's
nice because for a
go.
long time it was basically just nudists who just wanted to talk about nudism all the time. We have sub rooms, like I have a nudism sub room, so when I have people
Hmm.
come in that start talking about nudism, like my regulars will be like, hey, you might want to go to the nudism room to talk about that, because it's like the same
Hmm.
conversations happen a lot. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just really happy. Like, I really appreciate. I definitely have more of a community now than I did like a couple years ago. Because like for the longest time, it was just me and the haters and the porn bots. I had very few people that were like genuinely engaging with me and thinking about what I had to say. So that's been really rewarding too. I appreciate you guys.
Excellent. That's good. That's a great answer. Okay, so talking about your bands, how has Twitch, social media, or streaming culture shaped your message or the platform you have to use?
So my current process right now is I make the video. I think of the topic. Sometimes I write a script. I'm trying to get more into writing scripts. For a long time I would just be like, I want to talk about this thing, but now I'm trying to like make my videos a little more cohesive. And then a lot of times I will live stream on Joystick while I'm editing the video. And when I make the video, I
Uh-huh.
have the real version, which I upload to my own site. And then I make a
Hmm.
YouTube version, and I've actually changed the way that I've tried to censor for a long time. Like over the years, like for a while, I actually have a handmade outfit, slightly off frame, but I have a handmade outfit in the hat, and I was like photoshopping it on my body, but it took so much time. And then I actually was gonna stop posting on YouTube entirely because I got another bullshit ban, but I have
Hmm.
no views at all if I just use the websites like Mastodon and PeerTube by themselves.
You have to funnel. Hmm.
And so I'm like, it's really fucking frustrating because it's like these platforms like Twitch, they're like, we don't want you advertising other platforms, but we're also not going to let you post that here. We just don't want that content to
Hmm.
exist, period. And so I have
Hmm.
to, I have to use porn sites to be like, hey, this content exists. And then I have to make super censored
Hmm.
versions on Instagram and stuff. And I just, at this point, I have a page on my website, topless.org/banned, and it's just hundreds of screenshots of me getting banned on all sorts of platforms for always just like sexually explicit nudity. And it doesn't matter. Like people, again, they'll be like, oh, well, this other person posted this and they didn't get banned. It's like because they were lucky, because they don't have all these
Hmm.
haters.
They don't have the
So
haters. Yeah.
yeah, so what I'm really
You
struggling
have the
with is
haters.
trying to incentivize people to share links to my stuff on their own platforms, because the thing
Hmm.
is,
And which links?
so like links to my videos, for instance,
Website.
or
Right. Okay.
even
Okay.
or even just resharing my posts like on Blue Sky and stuff like that. But because
Hmm.
most of my followers are middle-aged men, they're just not the type to really do that. They don't really retweet and stuff like that. So that's why I have like
Hmm.
my promo squad, where basically I give the same perks that I do with Patreon and like Joystick subscribers, where it's like early access to my videos and sub only streams
Hmm.
and stuff like that. All you have to do is link to my content on your own platform and then post about it to Discord, and then you get access. But so far I haven't
Hmm.
really figured out how to incentivize people to go that extra mile. And I also understand that there's the stigma of, even if they legitimately support what I'm trying to do and they legitimately want to help me, they're scared of the stigma of like posting a link even to a censored version of my stuff. Say like someone posts a link to one of my YouTube videos on Facebook, most people are going to look at that and
Hmm.
be like, why are you posting porn? And they don't want to deal
Yeah.
with the ostracization. So I understand that. My answer is make up an anonymous account. Make a
Yeah.
Facebook that has nothing to do, or use something that isn't Facebook or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to incentivize people. So if anyone has any hints that's not do porn, let me know.
It's a good one. It's a good one. So in order to be able to have a voice, people have to share your content. The thing is people should want to share your content because they agree with you. They shouldn't want something from it.
Yeah,
They shouldn't be
ideally.
like, oh, I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this content because I'm going to see a video of her braiding her armpit hair after this. No. Why do you want that? Well,
Yeah,
now I'm talking about it, so now it has to happen. No, stop.
yeah,
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Funny that they're talking about Marie Gluskamp Perez, because that's actually where I am, and turns out she's actually fairly right-wing. But anyway, she's not total Trumpy, so... yeah, and it's like the frustration, too, is that only certain kinds of people... Like, I will often... Like, I'll be like, I saw this awesome video, you guys need to go check it out. But other people very rarely do that. Like, I always say, like, I wish I had some K-pop fans, because they will, like, they'll make face cams, they'll make, like, you know, collages, Pinterest, and they'll, like, share the shit out of that. How do I get some of that energy? How do I get the people that follow me to, like, be posting my stuff everywhere? Because it's not, like... It's not a, like, oh my god, my ego, you know, my ego needs you to share my stuff. It's that I cannot afford to be talking to like 3 people. I cannot afford to put 25 hours into creating a video for 10 people to watch. I'm not, and you know, especially considering that like maybe one of them might be a $2 a month Patreon donor. Shit costs money. Shit costs time and money. And as much as I'm passionate about this stuff, like, I'm not getting paid to do any of this. I don't have sponsors. I don't have monetization. And then, of course, when you do have sponsors, then you have all this red tape to worry about. So it's...
Putting us
fucked
this
either way
together was insane.
Yeah.
This stream was insane together to have to put together.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just like, I don't understand where you're going. I mean, I'm flattered, but I don't understand where you're going to all this work just to stream with me. But you must care about it.
Exactly what you said, because we have to. I am so over the fact that I have to wear a bra places because my body is sexualized when I'm not doing sex. If I'm not up and down on it,
you're just
let
existing.
Me literally just have nipples. I literally just want to exist, and I do feel like now here in Montreal I am able to, but on the internet I'm not. I'm simply not.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to exist as a woman who has nipples.
Yeah, and like
that's ridiculous.
Someone was asking about interviewing other content creators, and like the biggest reason, well, one of the biggest reasons why I haven't really interviewed a lot of content creators is that a lot of them, I will message them, and like VidCon, for instance, I'll talk to a bunch of people and they'll be like, yeah, I totally support your mission, and then I'll be like, would you ever be interested in an interview? And they're like, oh, I can't risk my sponsors. Like, again, you had to do all this red tape. So there's a lot of people out there who support...
But I did it. But I did
Yes, and I really appreciate that. But a lot of people, they just don't want to risk they don't want to bite the hand that feeds by risking losing money, risking losing sponsors. And I can't be that mad at them because that is their job. Like, that is how they pay the bills. So it's lonely kind of being over here by myself. But, you know, I'm very privileged in that between my dad... Because my dad... lived with us before he died, and so it was his social security and then my husband's paycheck that was able to keep us afloat. And so, like I said, now my dad's dead, so it's his life insurance and my husband. But once that life insurance is gone, if I'm not making at least $1,000 a month on Patreon, I have to quit all this. So if you like what I'm doing and you want me to keep doing it, consider $2 a month or more on Patreon, please. Yeah, so anyway, it's just... I really appreciate the amount of effort you put into putting this together, and I'm really hoping that I didn't accidentally get you in trouble somehow.
No, you did. I think you did fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, end of the day, it's just sometimes if you get banned for something, it means that you're rocking the right boat. You know what I mean?
That's what I tell myself.
It means that you're rocking the right boat.
That's what I try to tell myself when I get banned all the time, is like, well, obviously I'm pissing off people in power for them to go to this much effort to hunt me down and ban me. You moved to Canada to
moved to Canada on Joystick. No, I moved to Canada because in America, when I walk around, even now, if I go visit my mom in Florida, and her and I are walking around in the Costco parking lot, and I'm wearing clothes, it's Florida, so I'm wearing probably shorts and a tank top, and she's wearing a shorts and a tank top, we will... Every single time, a group of men in a car will roll down their windows, honk their horns, and harass us. They will solicit us to come over to their car. They will ask how much money. They will ask if we will fuck each other. I'm with my mother. She is 60.
Wow. Yeah. Because it's not about the woman. It's about the power of objectifying her. Catcalling is not a compliment,
and it doesn't happen here.
I don't know who needs to hear this.
It doesn't happen in Canada.
But catcalling is never a compliment. It is always like telling that woman my ownership
I
of
wouldn't
you.
even call it catcalling. I
Yeah.
just call it harassment.
Yeah.
Because it makes it's like on the media when they say an underage woman. No, that's a minor. Sexual assault of an underage woman. No, you're raping a child.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let's just make that really clear right here.
Yeah, it's like
It's not
involved in an
sexual assault of a minor.
altercation with the cops. It's like, no, the cops
Exactly.
murdered a journalist. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I actually do want to move to Canada, mostly. Well, not being held hostage with my husband's job for medical care, my kids not getting shot at school, you know, not getting abortion bans.
They say underage girl is worse.
Oh my god.
Underage girl is worse. That is not. That is worse.
Yeah, jeez.
They're just playing on the fetish of the girl. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you guys. So I moved here because I can walk around wearing, in complete honesty, pretty much anything. I've seen women walking down the street later at night that have like mesh tops on and their nipples are free under their like mesh top. You can see everything. When it gets darker out, because the club scene and like fetish culture and stuff is pretty comfortable here, and it is legal to be topless. So I don't fear harassment. The last time a man hit on me when I was walking, I was in like a skirt and like a little like tank top, which is pretty much my outfit, and he was sitting outside of the Salvation Army because I was walking past it. He looks at me and he goes like this, and so I go like this, and he goes, and that was his hitting on me. That was it. that was how I was hit on, and I just hit him right back.
I don't know if that's creepy or cute.
Say anything. He didn't say anything. He didn't ask me to show my tits to him. He didn't say flash your ass. He didn't try to rape me.
Yeah, that's always a point. Always a point in a guy's favor if he doesn't try to rape you.
That's a good answer, Alpha.
So there are two things. So Bacho says, it's tough because I'm usually on my work computer. I don't want to get fired. So it's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of my regulars, like, they'll watch on their phone or something with headphones. And first of all, I have to try not to scream if I'm, like, playing a game because I'm going to break their eardrums. But yeah, like, they comment on that, how they're like, you know, I have to be careful. And that's what's funny is that, like, a lot of these jobs, if they were watching a Twitch stream full of violence, then the people, as long as they're getting their job done, the people wouldn't care. But if they see someone with tits out, they're going to be like, oh my god, you can't watch that on, you know, company time. And then Alpha, guys get banned, so the lucky women, like on IG and other sites, they can go topless and stand behind a tree, and you can clearly see her tits on the video in IG, and it's not banned, so I'm not hating, but yes, they're lucky women. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is it's completely arbitrary. And that's what's so infuriating, because it's like a no loitering law. Say that a store has a no loitering law, but they only use it on black people. It's very selective. And it's like, we don't allow this content.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, like we don't allow this content, but it's only enforced against a certain kind of person or a certain person. So it's like, it's infuriating because people who don't deal with the bans are like, well, they claim that they don't ban this thing. And I'm like, I can tell you from personal experience, if I do it, it will be banned. Other people, maybe not. And it's just, and they never think about the stuff that has been banned. It's like, well, this didn't get banned. It's like, okay, but how much of that thing did get banned? You won't know because it was banned. So people need to keep that in mind. Basically, never trust what the platform, never trust the platform when they claim what their rules are, because it's completely arbitrary. They'll do whatever they want.
That's what Gut was talking about earlier. He's like, why can you leave a love and essence on Twitch? Don't trust the platform.
Yep.
If you can use it on there, I bet you, but why would they ever take away money from themselves when you can't do that? It's against TOS. You can do it, but it's against TOS. And if somebody reported you for it, then you would get banned.
Yep.
But you know what happens when you get banned? Twitch takes your paycheck. You know what happens? You don't get access to that money. Twitch takes that shit.
I'm a little... Oh, sorry.
It's gone.
So I'm just... Alpha saying, every time I talk to any girl, I always ask age, and if I don't believe them, I will not talk to them. I need to be sure you're above age. So I'm a little confused. Are you saying, like, sexual conversations and hitting on, or just straight up talking to people? Because if you are not sure if a conversation with someone, with a person is sexual or not, to me, that indicates you need more studying. That is exactly the kind of stuff where we need to have conversations about, like, consent, because it's like, it shouldn't be like, oh, I don't know what's sexual harassment, so I'm just never going to talk to women. You should have the opportunity to learn more about what is harassment or not. And like the information is out there, but it is hard to find. You know, the websites are not going to recommend healthy content to you. That's how people fall for Andrew Tate type shit, because that's what's getting front page. That's like, how do I talk to women? Boom, there's Andrew Tate telling you women are bitches, insult them. And so I don't know. It's just very frustrating to me. But yeah, I feel bad for you that you're like that worried about, you know, accidentally talking about something, you know, inappropriate with a underage girl. But I definitely don't think the answer is never talk to girls. I think it's educate yourself on what is an inappropriate conversation or not. But it's not an easy answer if you don't know how to find the information.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Let's see. We're almost done with the questions here. Only took us 3 hours. Oh, do you have any upcoming projects or collaborations that you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, so as I already mentioned, I will be at VidCon next week in Anaheim. I have been going almost every year since like the third one. I didn't go for a couple of years when my kids were first born, and then it was canceled in 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. And even though VidCon itself doesn't really do anything to help mid-sized streamers, they're basically only focused on like children and famous people. I go every year because it's the only opportunity I have to really meet other creators in person, like big and small. So if anyone happens to be, I mean, this is a very small audience, so I doubt it, but if anyone happens to be there, and would like to say hi to me, I'd really appreciate it. Don't be weird. I will be there with my kids. As far as upcoming videos, I have one that I've been editing that I'm really hoping to get up by Wednesday before we leave, where it's me commenting on our nudism posts and basically using them as a springboard to discuss like sexual harassment in nudist places and stuff like that. So that should be up pretty soon. I have some up already. Like I have the interview I mentioned with Jessie Gender that I think was a really good interview, and I was hopeful because she's a fairly big creator, but she linked to my stuff like once or twice, but that was it. People don't really go off platform to watch it. So I'm kind of sad because I think it was like a really good interview. And yeah, I just have some interviews, like I said, the Swolesome Entertainment one. I'm always looking for interesting people to interview. I would like to prioritize people who have their own following, just because it's more mutually beneficial if, you know,
of course.
I have more people. Because I have a lot of interviews with just like regular people, and it's like fun, but it doesn't go anywhere, you know. And yeah, that Isms of Nudism video is gonna be my, I want to say like Magnus Opum. It's gonna be like my first legitimate attempt at a video essay with like all this like research and B-roll and everything in it. So I need to make that happen. Try to make it happen by November or something like that. So, and yeah, like I said, I live stream on Tuesdays, 12 to 3 p.m. PST on joystick.tv/u/topless and then I stream on Twitch Fridays, 12 to 3 p.m. PST, at Seri Got Game, CERI Got Game. My kids just got off school for 3 months, so I'm going to try to stick to the schedule. It might change up. And I also will just casually stream some days just because I feel like it. So I encourage everyone, you know, join the Discord, follow me on the social media. Like Blue Sky and Instagram are like the most well-known ones that I still regularly use. So you can see if I do a stream. But yeah, and please, if you like what I do, or you care about the message, or you want to like help me continue doing this after my dead dad's life insurance runs out, please share links to my stuff to your own platforms. You can share the YouTube.
Our goal is $1,000 a month.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Please.
Yeah.
Please share and support in a way that you can.
And I mean, if you can become like a Patreon donor, that's amazing. But even if you can't, honestly, someone sharing, like, let's say one link to my content a day, it means more than donating $2 a month. Like, both is great, but, don't feel like the only way to help me is by paying money. Honestly, putting the effort into letting more people know about my content is a huge help. So yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing. I can't keep up with the chat.
I'm gonna open the chat to questions, and I'm gonna go back and we're gonna talk about the things that they've said. I'm big on Snapchat for non-sexual nudity. I posted a picture on my story and I was in like a mesh shirt, like in a rave fit, and you could see my nipple under the
Yep.
shirt, even though there was like a little star over it, and I got banned.
Yep. Yep.
And my stories were not visible to the public. They were only visible to my 20 friends,
Yep.
and none of my 20 friends reported me. I know this because my friends ain't snitches.
Yep.
And the platform, I cannot make a an account with my iOS or with my phone number. I am banned on the platform.
Daily Motion.
For posting a photo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Daily Motion is a website that has CSAM on it, and I made a Daily Motion account, and I hadn't actually told anyone in my existing followers about it, and I uploaded that Fallacy of Good Men video where, yes, I'm topless, but I'm just sitting there on a couch talking about it, and as soon as I linked to that video on my existing platforms, the entire account got banned for sexually explicit things.
That's crazy.
Because, again, my dedicated cabal of haters were like, oh, boop, false report, down.
Yep.
And so, again, people are like, oh, well, they don't ban. Yeah, they do. If you're like me, or you're loud enough, or you're pushing the envelope enough, you will get banned. The ones who don't get banned are either they're extremely lucky, or they're catering to the status quo, you know.
Tiffy says, what are 3 points you would tell chatters on this site to make it smoother for the performers?
I'm a little confused.
I want to tell you that this site is wonderful. I'm so impressed. I come from Twitch, and I've streamed on other platforms as well. I've streamed on different mobile platforms. Do you guys remember that? I won't say it by name because they scammed me, so I'm not going to give them any free publicity. But there's one mobile site that I streamed on. They, I would literally get guys that the website labeled Bobs, because they would come in and say, show Bobs, because it was allowed on the iOS store. And when you're in India, they don't have access to pornography.
Yeah.
So they would come onto this safe for work site and try to get people to show Bobs, even though it was completely like not allowed on the site.
That's a meme in my community, actually. It's show Bobs.
Yeah, we would just call them Bobs.
Yeah.
They were just Bobs. So this site, I haven't had a single person I've had to ban. I haven't had anybody who was disrespectful. I would say, Tiffy, if I could give you a tip, it's to actually make an account. And I know it's scary because you have to put your information on it, and it's a porn site. I get it. It's scary. But this is the only place that you can go and talk about stuff, at least for now. And I'm not saying that the site won't get big enough and they won't be able to do these things. Then you have to find another site. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to care about your voice, you have to have a voice. I know that's scary. What about you? Do you have anything else? Does anyone ever come in? You've mentioned before, how people treat you.
Yeah.
When you have your boobs out, is there anything you want to add for it?
Well, I would say engage with what I'm talking about, not what I look like. I mean, that's a big help, because it's like, I don't live stream to hear myself talk. I live stream because I like to interact with people. Like, for me, live streaming is most of my social interaction. Like, I don't really have time to go out very often, and it's hard making friends as adults. And it's like when I go to the PTA stuff, like, I can't talk about any of this kind of stuff, I don't, the risk is too great of the alienation or whatever. So for me, my live streams are literally like therapeutic. Like, this is me hanging out with my friends. I know a lot of streamers say that and they don't really mean it. I legitimately think of my regular people who I talk with all the time. I think of you guys as friends. And I think they know that too.
I love that.
So yeah, I would just say, even if someone is a sex worker, it still helps to treat them like people, because it's like another Twitch streamer that I watch sometimes is Adriana Chechik, who is an actual porn star.
I do know her. Yeah.
She's very, I haven't really been to her streams a lot lately, but like, she's very sweet, because like, I came in once and she's like, oh, hey girl, how's it been? I was like, oh, my dad's sick. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll pray for him. Like, she's very sweet. She's a very genuine person. But she gets all these guys come in who are just like, oh, I nutted to your face. And it's like, why would you say that to someone? Even though she is...
It's the power thing.
Yeah, even though she is
the power thing.
A porn star,
want them to feel degraded.
Like, that's not... like, because there's some guys out there, they're like, oh, I just meant it as a compliment. I'm going to tell you right now, unless a woman is like, please tell me, like, that you got off to me, it's an insult to tell a woman that you masturbated to her, or, you would masturbate, or you want her to sit on your face or anything like that. That's not a compliment. Straight up. You need to stop listening to Andrew Tate.
The woman that edits my videos, She is good friends with Adriana, so I watch
Oh,
her streams a
cool.
lot. We're talking about Adriana right now, Nix. I don't know if you can if you type. I don't know if I saw your name. But we're talking about Adriana right now, and she has an incredibly high opinion of her, and I just wanted you to hear it because it's a good personal friend of
Well, that's
yours.
good.
That
Yeah.
that's it.
She seems really sweet, and like I don't really watch porn. Like I've tried and it doesn't really do anything for me. Like I said, I have to be like emotionally invested in the characters for it to do anything for me. But I
Hmm.
just watch her because I think she's nice. I think she's hilarious. I think that we have a lot of similar opinions. And like she's just fun to watch and interact with. Like, yes, it's nice that she's hot, but like I don't care that much if someone's hot. I care about if they're fun. I care about if they're entertaining or, you know, fun to talk to.
I was linking her in chat because
Oh.
Cool Cat said he wants to know who you are. So I was pointing to you, but obviously I pointed like this because this is where you are on my screen, but it's actually like this. So like,
Yeah. No, I was like, are you telling me to shut up? Yeah, so
nope, no, I was shouting you out.
so yeah, no, yeah, so basically Sari Got Game is my gamer name, and then Topless Topics is my feminism progressive whatever. And like there's a lot of intersect because I really do love video games and I'm really passionate. I play games all the time. My dream is to someday be able to have like maybe a video editor and social media manager or whatever and just be able to do the making the content part, because then I could do
Hmm.
just gaming stuff, just political stuff, stuff that's in between or whatever. So that's why I have two different names. And also because like I actually used to have the name Topless Topics on Twitch, which is crazy that I was able to do that. But I didn't want to be pigeonholed in. I got a lot of people that were like, I want porn, you know? And so I felt like
Hmm.
having that
Hmm.
in my title, unfortunately, did open me up to a lot of people that just wanted porn. Don't know why they were on Twitch looking for porn. So that's why I changed that to Sari
Because
Got Game.
it's porn is blocked in their country now or
Yeah.
in their state now.
Yeah.
See how I said state?
Yep. Yep. So that's why I have two different names. Because
That's
one is
valid.
way more gaming. Yeah, I actually like when I first started making videos on YouTube, I was basically just on gaming. It was just that the stuff with Trisha Hirschberger and the Naked Truth, where I was like, oh, this is cool. We can actually talk about other stuff too.
Hell yeah. I didn't know that, Nixia. I had no idea that it cut you off.
Aw.
I had no idea that it cut you off from watching if you didn't make an account. I didn't know.
Yeah, the
Interesting.
issue with Tate is that he points out the issues with patriarchy and all the solutions for men are more patriarchy. Which they made fun of in the Barbie movie, and then like the dudes just totally missed the point. Oh, they're all the women in the society, blah blah blah. Yeah, the point was that neither all male or all female control is the answer. It needs to be egalitarian, and they just, oh my god, women, woke, anger. Like there's definitely a lot of critiques with the Barbie movie, but a lot of the guys getting mad about it totally missed the point. Let's see.
That's great. I'm again so impressed that every one of you showed up. Thank you so much for showing up and making today like a cool interview. I am so excited that we actually like got to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like I am so happy that we actually got to talk to each other. This is excellent.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about it for so long. It's like, wait, it actually happened? Like
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And we put it together fast.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, this is happening. Let's
Yeah.
go. Bam, bam, bam.
And other than the bad frame rate cuz I gave up trying to get my capture card to work on Twitch, like at least our video and our audio seemed to work out. So that's what I was really worried about, cuz I was like, it's so complicated. I've never co-streamed before. Brandon Fesm, Miss Sanders Transphobic is very well funded. Yeah. Actually, not Jenna Marbles. Wow. Jessie Gender just put out a really good video, literally talking about like the liberal whitewashing of progressives. Because like the thing with J.K. Rowling is she pretends like she's looking out for women by being transphobic, and it's like if you're already experienced with leftist spaces, you already know this. But like the people raping women are not trans women. It's cis men. Vast majority are cis men. And a sign on a bathroom is not going to stop a man from going in and raping a woman. No person is going to go through all the effort of transition just to go into a bathroom and rape a woman. So the only thing you're punishing with a bathroom law is trans women for being trans.
I also think that, and I have one of my close friends, my like core five is trans. a trans woman, and I talked to her about it, and I'm like, now here in Canada we have shared bathrooms, but if I was in a bathroom and I was a little drunk, and I was in the bathroom with another girl who was a little drunk, and a man walked in, he could assault us both. But if I was in the bathroom with a trans woman and we were both a little drunk, if a man walked in, he would not assault us both. He would sit there and talk shit about the trans woman. And I feel so much safer with them in the bathroom
Yeah.
because it's literally, there is no bigger prevention for me getting raped than a trans woman being there because of the fear that they put in rapist like bodies. Also, some of them are fucking really strong.
Yeah.
If my friend and I were in a bathroom together and someone came in, she'd be throwing fists defending me, and I love her so much for it. I'd be also throwing fists, but like that's a homie. I know a lot of cis women, if I was in the bathroom with them and they were a little drunk and a guy came at them, they would just sit there and be like, no.
Yeah.
They'd be like, God damn it, I have to pick up this trash can by myself and get with it.
Yeah. Well, it's like sometimes you'll have a guy in a friend group, not necessarily a trans woman, but like you'll have, like there was a guy in a group of friends that I used to have, and his whole thing was he would go with his female friends to clubs, and if there was a guy harassing them, he would be like, he would get into it. And it sucks. It really fucking sucks to be like, oh, I need a man to defend me. But the physical reality is that men are stronger than women by and large. And, you don't really think about it, but like, my husband, for instance, he's built like a Viking. Like, he's not violent at all. But if he decided to be violent, I'd be fucked. Like, he could kill me. Like, just, And, I mean, not all guys are built like him, but that's a reality, and that's why, it's the whole the bear thing. Men are far more likely to assault a woman than a bear. Men are far more likely to hurt a woman than a bear, and so we have to pick the less dangerous option. So, someone was asking about first stream.
Tiffy, you asked? Yeah. I'm gonna do that one. Okay. That's a good one. So, I'm here. I'm on the platform, and I'm happy to be here. I do have a contract, as we were talking about the red tape that comes with being a big content creator. I would not say that I'm a big content creator. I'd say I'm a mid-tier content creator. A lot of people would say I'm a big content creator. I have a contract over starting next month and going for 3 months where I am not allowed to stream on a site that isn't Twitch, OnlyFans, or this new site that's paying me to stream on that site. It is in the red tape of my contract. So in 3 months, 3 months and a half, I am happy to come and revisit this site and do stuff here with Top and do something cool. But until then, I do it in my brain, and I'm not even
Cleo
mad
or
about
Sari.
Okay. And with Cleo here, and I'm happy to sit here and have more conversations like this, but due to the red tape of a contract that I have starting next month for 3 months, I had to get explicit permission to stream today because I'm technically under contract, though the contract doesn't start until next month.
Yeah. So that's why I can be, saying all the words we're not supposed to say, because I don't have a contract, because no one will pay me anything, because I'm talking about taboo subjects without actually doing porn. No, I'm just kidding. So cool.
It's a lot about having a platform, because I've built the platform, so now I can talk about the things. And I can do the things because I have that little wiggle room, like you were mentioning earlier, like some people don't get in trouble for it. There's an algorithm that Twitch has told me. Twitch partners have told, or Twitch staff has told me that the amount of followers you have, the amount of subs you have, what tier of partner plus you have, and the amount of people that tune into your streams. And that's how much you can get away with it. If those numbers are pretty much all over 1,200, you don't really get reprimanded for anything.
Yep. Which, hate the game, not the player. Like, that's my thing with booby streamers or whatever, is like, I'm not really mad at them, I'm mad at Twitch for being so hypocritical. And, YouTube and everything like that. Because it's like, get your bag or whatever. Like, when I did interview Eden Blair, the porn star, really, really early on, she was saying, I can't remember exactly how she said it, but basically, like, if men are going to objectify me anyway, I might as well get paid for it. And I was like, yes! Like, you're gonna get exploited anyway. You might as well get something out of it, I do think it's funny, though,
You're
when
completely correct.
Dudes are like, all you have to do to get famous on Twitch is be a chick. It's like, I can contest that is not true.
It is not true. I made partner. I was averaging like 2,000 viewers on Twitch before I started doing any type of sex work.
Yeah.
I started doing sex work this year, but if you look back at my history and like being a model and then trying to get into suicide and then trying to get into sex activism and trying to get into sex
I think you
therapy,
should clarify
like as
what
a college
suicide you're
degree.
talking about. Yeah.
Suicide Girls, it's a burlesque, like they cover themselves in tattoos
Yeah.
and take sexy photos. It's like Playboy but like for old girls
Yeah.
instead.
Just for people who didn't know what
Suicide
that
Girls.
was.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Um that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Did you get your point you're talking about? Okay.
Yes, please
So
continue.
Cool Cat was saying, okay, there was one sign of bars that pissed me off. It was a pic of a guy and a girl, and it said, "Don't take her home because it isn't consensual." I was like, how is that fair if both are drunk? Lol. So this is honestly, it's a difficult subject, and again, this is why we need to have conversations about consent. You're gonna grab water, okay? This is a thing why
I'm
we
listening.
have to have conversations about consent, because I think it's situational. I think it really depends on the people. If someone is like comatose or like really incapable of expressing themselves and firmly saying no, I don't think you should go home with that person. And I mean, it's hard to, I can't give a blanket, like, yes, it's okay to take them home if A, B, or C. My husband and I, so this is how I met my husband. I had a friend who's actually the one that was in the poly relationship where they, like, basically kicked out the wife or whatever. She had convinced us all that her current husband was abusive. And so I and 3 male friends of her showed up in the middle of the night and helped her move out. And it turned out that he wasn't really abusive. She just really wanted to go with this married guy. Whatever. But I met my husband there, and apparently we both told her that we liked each other, but she never let us know. A year after that, I was dating a couple, sort of. It was complicated. Like, he was in the military, so no one could know, and I wasn't really interested in him. I was only interested in her, but the thing that happens is often the man wants to have sex and the woman doesn't. But anyway, so we were kind of like not really into it, and he was there at Renaissance Fair and we got really into it. The reason I mention this is that I made myself get drunk so that I was brave enough to be like, hey, I like you. And I used to, I don't even remember how I said it, but I used to joke that I like got drunk and forced him to date me or something like that. And then someone said, like, that's really not okay to joke about. And I realized that now, and I was like, oh yeah, like, I shouldn't have said that. But it's like, I forced myself. I wanted to be with him, and I forced myself to go drunk. And he was actually like, no. And I was like, no. I met you before. I really like you. I want to be with you. There are going to be some people out there that say that he was wrong for going with me anyway. You know, in another universe, maybe he did say no and we never got further than that. I think it does not hurt to always be cautious. And what I was saying when you stepped away is, like, if someone is so drunk that they're, like, falling asleep or they're just, like, not really aware of what's going on, do not sleep with them. Straight up. In fact, help them get an Uber. You know, help them get home safely. Or at least tell the bartender, be like, hey, I think this person needs help. And it really depends on the person in the situation. I think it's okay to be drunk, maybe, but not, you have to be like having an actual conversation, not slurring your words and stuff like that. So I don't want to like be like, it's okay to sleep with people if you're drunk. I think drunk is a very broad category because there's like buzz to comatose, you know?
It's completely valid.
So I don't know.
Do you want to take Tiffy's question too? Not to pick easy fruit, that one. I know you just rolled.
Oh, sorry. What were you talking about? Let me go back. Oh, okay. There's a ton of education needs to be given to men when it comes to dealing with women. Before that, we have to soften terms in education so it feels more natural to them. Yeah, and, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, we need to destigmatize sex work. We also need to destigmatize talks about sex. Like, we're having a hard enough time getting, especially Republican states, to have sex ed, period. But we should have it, and we should absolutely include stuff like consent. Like the Netflix show Sex Ed, or sex education or whatever, like you can tell it would never happen in the US because first of all, she's actually teaching how to use a condom, but it's also like talks about like pleasure and consent and queerness and everything like that. That's what we need. And we also need to include intimacy, and we need to, like, I don't know if Tiff was here earlier, but I'm a big advocate for, I think that we should legalize sex work, and we should also like have sort of like sex therapists. So partner surrogate. One of my earlier interviews I did was with someone who works as a sex surrogate, and basically they don't just have sex with someone for money. It's literally like they're teaching them intimacy. They're teaching them to be okay. And it's not even necessarily sex. It could just be hand-holding, hugging, whatever. Because if you keep it this big taboo thing, they're gonna be scared to ask questions, and their mind is ready to be filled by toxic masculinity and stuff like that. We need to get into their first before the toxic masculinity, but for whatever reason the platforms have decided that Andrew Tate, etc. is profitable, whereas like teaching men not to rape is somehow not profitable. So people who have bigger platforms and don't get restricted as much as those of us who do get restricted a lot, you're gonna have to be brave enough, and like, you know, Basti doing this stream with me, you're gonna have to be brave enough to speak up for issues like that, because as long as it's just little nobodies like me talking about it, nothing's gonna change.
But that's it. They silence you so much so you can't talk about it. And the people who are the most passionate about these things are always the most passionate about these things. You know? You can't just suppress your passion to try to gain fame some way and then discuss it.
Is that sex ed should include interpersonal... Yes! Exactly! Like, that's... It's crazy to me that that's even stigmatized. Like, you know, you were making the joke about, like, talking about relationships and stuff is gay, but it's like, that's it. People are ashamed for not knowing everything. There's a really good video essay, again by Mert KK, who I was talking about earlier, where she was sort of responding to this one that ContraPoints did about Twilight fanfiction and stuff, and Mert KK was talking about how it's a privileged take to assume, and I use a lot of leftist buzzwords like privilege, but it's a privileged take to assume that someone reading toxic fan fiction is going to know it's toxic, because, like, for instance, huge age gaps. Like, you have a fan fiction where a dad is dating his, like, 14-year-old daughter or something like that, and it's like, oh, well, obviously it's just fiction. There's a lot of people who are literally living in places where that's normalized. Like child marriages and stuff like that. They read that. They don't know that it's supposed to be like, oh, obviously this is fake. And so that's the thing. If we don't have conversations, if we don't have mainstream, easily accessible conversations about how, yes, maybe dads sleeping with their daughters is not such a good thing. And the people are not like already socially aware enough to be looking for that content, they're not going to know. There's so much stuff that we can't fall into that whole, like, well, I'm familiar with it, therefore everyone's familiar with it. No. You know, look at you. Like, we're finding out stuff, you know, stuff that I don't know. I know stuff that you don't know, even though we have a lot of the same opinions and, you know, some of the same experiences. There's still a lot of gaps, and we're fairly similar people. Now imagine some lonely dude who's never really had a girlfriend and never engaged with leftist content. This is all going to be new territory for him, so... I feel for you guys, and I know a lot of men out there are really trying their best to not be creeps, and it's just the cards are kind of stacked against them.
But you know, the thing is, the men who are not being creeps, every time I talk to them, when I go, God, I hate men, they go, God, I hate men. Or, we're the worst, I'm so sorry. One of my best friends is, he's in chat right now, and whenever I'm like, God, this guy sent me this message and it's awful, he's like, I'm so sorry for, like, my gender. Like, no one should talk to you like this. I just wish people were nicer to you, boss. And I'm like, at this point, I have to laugh about it, because if I sit here and internalize and, like, actually understand the fact that this is what a random stranger says to you, you'll lose it. So you have to be able to laugh about it. But it does mean that my close male friends get screenshots of really just uninteresting.
Well, that's what was important about Me Too, and, you know, the continued conversation is that a lot of guys are just simply not aware of what women have to deal with, and a lot of it gets discounted because they're not receiving it, so they're like, oh, just ignore it, what's the big deal? Because they don't know what it's like to get that stuff all the time and get it from people in places of authority and, you know, power imbalances. And what's so interesting about the bear versus man thing that's continuing, like, it's funny you mention it, and there's still people that are like, rah, is the male responses who are like that and are like, you know, there's a lot of shitty guys out there, like, I'm really sorry that there's a lot of shitty guys, and then you have the shitty guys be like, oh, they're just saying that because they want you to, they're trying to get brownie points so you'll sleep with them, because it's so inconceivable to those guys that a man could ever legitimately, like, support a woman. Clearly he's only doing it because he wants to have sex. It's always, you know, like, I have guys who ask me, like, how can I advocate for topless equality without being accused of just wanting to see more tits? And I'm like, the person saying that, it's a reflection on how bad they are, that they can't internalize caring about something unless they benefit from it, so they're projecting it onto you. You're just going to have to understand that it's not an indictment against you, it's an indictment against them. Because, you know, you can't stop that comments, but you can realize you can choose whether to let those comments influence your behavior or not. So
Absolutely.
it's kind of like what I tell my kids, like, I can't stop people from saying mean stuff to them. So what I try to teach my kids is not to let the mean people give them have power over them. If someone's being mean to you, if your friend is being mean to you, just say, I don't want to be your friend, you're being mean, and you walk away.
Yes.
That's it. You don't owe them your time. You don't owe them your self-esteem. And it's easy to say that to someone else, but
Absolutely.
Oh man.
If you go back and you want to watch this on a YouTube video,
I'm going to have it up on my channel.
Right here. We're going to have it up on the channel. I will be linking it on my social media once it goes out as well. That'll be on our website. So we'll post it around the Discord and stuff if you do want to come and catch this.
Yeah. And if you do, please consider leaving comments on it. And please consider sharing it. You know, perfect example. Once this video is up on YouTube and on my own website, perfect example of something that you can go to your own social media, be like, hey, I saw this awesome conversation. Like, go check it out. That's all you got to do, and it will help out immensely. So please feel free to link to the stuff. Well, if you want to see my tits, I know you're kidding, but if you want to see my tits, go to my site, toplesstopics.org, because my whole thing is that I do non-sexually topless videos so that people can see female nipples outside of sexually explicit situations, so that they can normalize it, so that maybe someday we can have the same rights as men. Maybe someday very far in the future.
Let's go. I love it. This was great. I had such a great time. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, chat, for being the best chat I've ever had. You know, at a point, we had 70 people in here today.
Wow. That's way more than I've ever had.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we had 300 on Twitch. We had 300 on Twitch. And it pulled over 70 people. Is pretty good. And I know that some of them are from the chat. I know that they networked with me. They shared my social media. We had a couple of cuties in the chat that came from it, and that was pretty cool. We saw a mod.
Yeah.
That was cool too.
Yeah. No, this worked really well. So.
Morning, Slack.
And
you will see the video. There's going to be a video. We're going to post it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And you got to let me know how that contract turns out, because, I mean, you said you had a good experience here, so maybe someday in the future we can find a way for you to be able to stream here. It's so weird that they found a way to let you post on OnlyFans, but you can't post here.
Yep. Yes, that is it. It's because it's not a competing platform, but to them it is. So the platform that I'll be streaming on is a mobile-only platform, but they consider this platform, because it's the same size as them, competitor. And they want exclusivity. And they did pay me a pretty penny. It is, listen, I would not have accepted it if it was not like, ooh, that's nose job money right now.
Yeah.
And your girl needs to get her nose fixed.
And in the meantime, I will have my tits out.
Yes, there you go.
Just please don't tell me if you're jacking off to them. Yeah. And hopefully I'll be able to stream on Twitch with you again sometime, and I will take the time to try to figure out a way to get the frame rate to be better so we can play more. Excellent. And everyone has to pay you money. Pay you more money so you can get a better computer. So
a computer. I might, you know what, with this deal coming in, I might put some of that money towards a computer. I might do it.
I think that would be nice.
You have a cute nose. It's broken. I got punched in the face. Oh
yeah, we didn't even talk about that. You mentioned that your one of your things is blocked, so you can't breathe through it.
Yeah, look.
I was born with this one clogged. I've never been able to breathe through this one, so that's funny. No. See, we have so many things in common.
So many things in common. It's great. It's great.
Okay, so I think that's about it. So, yeah,
I had a great time. Everybody. Thank you, chat. If you guys want to say goodnight, I'll say goodnight to you. If you guys are brand new and you just discovered me, please check out my other socials. I'm pretty active on Instagram. I post every time in my Instagram group chat before I go live on a platform. And if I don't, then one of my moderators yells at me. You want to give him some feet to go? Yeah, let's give him some feet. Yeah, I got you. This is my buddy. This is my favorite stuffed animal. He sits here on my desk. In case I'm having like a anxiety attack, I can just like look at him and it'll just center me. So he sits here in case bullies.
I have a rabbit in the bed named Bunny that I've had since I was 2 years old, and I still sleep with it because I like to have something in my arms. And my husband, if I hug him, he tries to grab my butt when I'm trying to sleep. I prefer to hug a cat, but my cats won't stay still, so.
It's valid. I pet Craft. Craft is in the butt a lot.
Alright, so, yep, and if anyone...
There's no way to raid on this platform? You can't, like,
maybe?
raid people?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Do you know?
I don't know if he's still here. You can?
Yes, there is. How do I do it? Tell me how to do it, and I will do the thing.
Oh, drop in.
Anybody that you want to go to?
It would be up to
username.
Philip to recommend somebody.
Philip, do you have a recommendation of someone who's online that we can drop in with our homies here? Platform is weird? Yeah, it is. We might be back on it too. It'll take us a little bit of time though.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, cool. Can you post in chat again your website so that we can talk, and your YouTube so that we can give it a follow, so when this video drops we can all go follow it. Please give it a follow, chat. Subscribe to the YouTube. Remember, subscribing on YouTube is completely free. You will see our video go up. I don't know how long it's going to take to edit it. We did talk for 3 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm not going to edit...
2 hours before that.
If we're just going to upload it by itself, then I could just...
It's okay, Slacker. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off stream.
Yeah.
And then twitch.tv/SariGotGame is my gaming.
Yes, please.
So, yeah. Alright, cool.
Please follow them all.
I'm gonna...
I'm gonna do this little raid thing here. But if you were wonderful, thank you for hanging out with me today. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I had such a good time.
Alright, I'm gonna stop streaming now. Bye, everybody.
Alright, I'll move your cam off. Goodbye, beautiful.